Hello and welcome to the Pens&Pixels podcast. I am your host, Cal G, and to my left is the coordinator extraordinaire,
Mike Kent.
The Popcast is a place to come to if you want to hear about the art and news of video games, comics, and movies that week.
If you like sass and you like press, then check out this podcast.
Woo! So spicy! Just can't get enough of it! So this week, we're going to go down the newsy news, as per usual. And then after the break, we're going to be going over the best and worst comic book arcs.
Yeah.
And that's not like it's going to be, again, in our opinion. Yes. It's not going to be like a thing where you find just like, it's the most commonly held, like, worst thing ever, I know a lot of people don't like the Clone Saga.
Well, do you like the Clone Saga from Spider-Man?
Yeah, I did as a kid, I totally did. Like, I've never gone back and read it, but, like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, like, what I saw, bits and pieces of it in the Spider-Man animated series at the time.
Anyways, we'll go over the worst ones. That one won't be included, because you're right. None of mine are the staple worst ones ever. That one
always just shocked me, because, again, I enjoyed it as a kid, and then to find out, like, that's, like, one of the most hated ones, I was like, why?
I didn't enjoy it as a kid.
Oh, man, yeah, I like Ben Reilly.
No.
You don't like Ben Reilly?
No.
You don't like Scarlet Spidey?
No.
That's a whole other conversation.
I like the costume.
Oh, yeah, costume's great.
The costume's great.
Yeah.
I loved when I saw the costume. I was like, ooh, cool new costume. I want to see what the new Spider-Man's all about. And then it was just like, fucking whatever.
I like Ben Reilly. Anyways, is there any housekeeping for Pens&Pixels?
Just to check out us doing the, I can't remember the name of it. It's very complex. VDVR, it's a VR.
Just nailing it.
I don't remember the name. On Sunday, we're working with Masterpiece VR. It's a software for digital sculpting and painting. They're doing an expose of their tech, and we're going to bring ourselves there and do some artwork using the VR headsets on Sunday. It's a closed event. However, we will be doing a live stream of people working at 1 o'clock on Facebook through the Masterpiece VR web Facebook page. And we'll be live tweeting the event and pictures and stuff of everything we're doing. So if on Sunday you're interested, check us out.
Well, I mean, this goes out Monday, so that's entirely useless.
Oh, well, that's useless. Okay, so that happened. Go and look at it's probably online.
Go look at the archives. Go back in the Twitter, and you can still check the pics and probably watch the videos.
I didn't even think about that. Well done.
Yeah, I try. All right, and with that, on to the newsy news. Mike.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I like to start the week?
With Shane Black.
With Shane Black! Black's back, baby!
He's so good.
Alright, if you don't know, if this is your first episode, Mike and I have an ongoing history with Shane Black, the director of the new Predator movie.
We love him. We hate him. We love him more.
No, he's a interesting guy, and we always love to see his name pop up in the news, which is quite often just in the like span of this movie's life. You know?
I have to check mark though. The thing I love most about it when I'm doing the podcast is every single time he comes up as a news story, we have a giant picture of a predator there. So my face for Shane Black is a predator.
It's always mentally associated.
Yeah, they're not in the suburbs.
All right. So the headline is the Predator Hunters won't be all CG, promises director. And if you're unfamiliar, to be fair for this whole thing, Shane Black did dispute someone tweeting at him at some point saying, "You're doing all CG for the Predators? That's stupid." And he said, "Don't believe everything you read." But he said last year, director Shane Black explained that they were making a number of enhancements and improvements to the Predator suit, revealing in an interview that there will be lots of upgrades to the traditional Predator technology. The director won't delve into specifics, but there are also early rumors that part of the suit will be enhanced with CGI. The news came from a merchandising convention claiming that the alien Predator hunters known as Yata, or Hishkuten, I didn't know that was a name for them. Hishkuten?
Is this new canon, or...?
Who fucking knows? Would all be CG with actors performing them via motion capture. But that may not actually be the case. The director took to social media over the weekend to shoot down rumors of an all CGI enhanced suit, while also addressing the new release date. Here's what he had to say about the suit. I'm standing on set next to a 7-foot-tall gentleman in a Predator suit, so no, it is not all CGI. What a snide comment. Sorry, what did you want to say?
No, it was funny when he said the new Predator technology. I was like, was he using the old cameras from like the 1980s?
Yeah, I guess.
Like I didn't know.
Their technology would evolve.
Yeah, I guess. But like it's the thing with Shane Black that's he always has these outspoken, very just like that one quote, like I'm standing next to him, like he's standing there with a middle finger with his little like pussy face.
It does.
Editor, like giving the middle finger like the whole time.
It does seem very like
he
snide.
hates anyone announcing, and this is our joy with Shane Black. He hates anyone making an announcement of a fact about his movie, which he will debate.
Yeah.
Even though he'll come back later and go back to the original point that the guy was always correct. He just couldn't let that guy be correct for a period of time before he's like, actually, now you are correct.
Yeah, don't you leak this.
Yeah.
It's not leaked. It's fake. Well, it's not actually fake.
It's like the Donald Trump of movie producers.
The director did state that it's not all CGI, so that could mean there may be CGI enhancements. I'm sure there will.
Sure,
That's just par for the course.
Films, like.
Yeah. Here's what the director had to say about why he supports the release date shift in response to a fan on Twitter. In truth, I endorse this entirely. It's a great thing. Also, a bit of a relief not to have to open up against Marvel's Black Panther in February. In its old release date, this Predator sequel wouldn't actually open against Black Panther, but it's set to arrive 1 week before Black Panther debuted on February 16th. Alright.
So it's been moved a month?
That's what I'm getting from this, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Okay. I'm happy to have this movie, but I'm not, like, freaking out that a month would be added to it.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. That's just business sense, right? Like, don't open near a Marvel movie.
You know what would have been a better tweet with this whole I'm standing next to a 7-foot tall man in a Predator suit?
Just a selfie?
A selfie next to the man in the 7-foot tall Predator suit.
Yeah. Although, it might be some sort of, like, NDA with that, like, we can't show it yet.
Or hold on to the fucking tweet until you can.
Yeah. that would be a very funny Shane Black thing to do, like, 3 months later, he responds to a tweet.
He's just sitting around, like,
and then he retweets it.
Yeah. He's, like, stewing in his own anger. He's like, can't wait to put this one out.
Yeah, he has it sitting in his draft folder.
It's not like that. They're going to know soon. And he's sitting there, like, with a big emergency warning and, like, a timestamp date for when he can.
Yeah, it's just counting down. He has a fucking calendar.
He's, like, sitting there just going...
Alright, so, next up, in the world of movies, Jurassic World 2 ties directly to Jurassic Park. Also, Jeff Goldblum's back, baby. Fuck yes.
Must go faster, must go faster.
So, in an interview with Larry King, James Cromwell elaborated about his role as Benjamin Lockwood in the film. Cromwell also shed some more light on his character's relationship with John Hammond, the creator of Jurassic Park. Here's what the actor had to say below. The character Richard Attenborough played in Jurassic Park, I'm his partner, Benjamin Lockwood. We developed the technology of being able to clone genes, and so I'm trying to deal with the blowback from what we have done. Just now, like 5 sequels later.
The blowback was that you fed many people to these dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of done. And also the fact that people keep going back. They're like, hey, they all got eaten. Fences will work this time.
Try it again.
Yeah, the fence didn't work. How about just more fences? Nope.
What if we made like a double T-Rex? No, stop this.
Yeah, they're like, oh, the dinosaurs, they're not going to be that interesting for so long. Let's make a super original dinosaur of our own. Where's this a good idea? No one even knows what that is.
Well, it'll be a great attraction if we make the most predatory beast alive. Well, maybe we could make, like, the ultimate vegetarian. No, absolutely not.
So how would they know that it's a predator? Well, we'll feed children to it first. Then they'll get it.
So, Mike, I know you weren't a fan of the first Jurassic World.
No.
Are you at all interested in this one, or is that just kind of completely wiped out your...
I haven't had a connection to a Jurassic Park movie since, like, even the second one was... I mean, I didn't dislike it as many people disliked it. I didn't like kind of the end game of the whole show. I mean, I kind of like seeing a T-Rex in a city. That's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But, like, it was an extra scene where I was like, all right, this is cool, but I'm fucking done with dinosaurs. Like, just in that movie.
How old were you at that point?
There was so much dinosaur. I'm just like, But, like, I still enjoyed 2, actually. I still say I've rewatched it a few times. But then 3 and fuck, whatever. Like
2 just has that scene where Jeff Goldblum's daughter is, like, doing gymnastics.
To kick a...
Yeah, and they have that line about, like, they kicked you off the gymnastics team for that? Like,
yeah.
or like shit.
Yeah.
Like,
but
alright.
I liked the scene with the hide. That was a good one. And also, one of the better tension scenes in any Jurassic Park movie was Julianne Moore on the glass. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, cracking as she's trying to move over to the edge. Like, my asshole went clang.
Yeah, no, that's a great moment.
Yeah. So, like, I liked it for that one. But then, like, 3 and there's a 4th one, right?
No.
No?
No. There's just 3. 3 in the Jurassic World.
Yeah, 3 in Jurassic World. So, like, again, I just didn't really connect. And even then, the second one was just like, okay, I had fun, but I don't care about another one. Then there was another one, then I didn't care at all.
There was plans for, like, a scrapped Jurassic Park 4 where, like, one version had militarized dinosaurs. They had like guns on dinosaurs and shit. I'm like, that's just. It's not even like realistic, like because they would just be able to shoot the dinosaurs as they like slowly tromp towards Afghanistan or wherever the fuck they were gonna have.
Fucking aim anything either.
No, it's just or I mean maybe someone is controlling the turret on top of the.
Yeah, but what are they doing? A carrot on a stick with the fucking dinosaurs to get them to go where you want? Like,
that's a great point. Yeah, I have no idea.
They just like open the doors and they all just like flood out.
Oh, this is a bad idea.
And then they all just stop and start herding and are grazing, and just like in the front of it because there's just grass there, and they're like. Like they throw like a carrot.
We did not think this one through. That's probably the plot of the movie. Yeah. And then the next one was...
That's the plot of all the movies. They didn't think any of it through.
And then the next one was splicing human with dinosaur DNA. Yeah. Again, don't know what possible like explanation there would have been for that. Yeah. We employed this crazy person. Just let him do what he did. You know, I don't know.
Now we're gonna have hybrid dino men.
And yeah, there's some like concept art of like it didn't look just as terrible as you think it would. I mean, it wasn't like a badly done drawing, but it was just like, here's a naked man with kind of a snout. Like, that's what it was.
And the thing is, too, at the end of the day, like, Dino Man is, like, He-Man, like, 80s goofy. Like,
yeah, exactly. It'd be really hard to play it up and be, like, serious. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
And then to sit back and be like, you know what, this was a smart thing to do.
I'm excited Jeff Goldblum's coming back, though, so I'm going to see that.
You like him in anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's not enough for debate. Yes, of course. All right, up next, in the continuing saga that is Alien, Ridley Scott, and Neill Blomkamp. For the past little while, Mike and I have been covering this story, and oftentimes it would just be our interjection, and we would just be constantly commenting on how much more we'd rather see Neill Blomkamp's version than Ridley Scott's version.
So a really quick summation of the story, in case you aren't up to date on it, is Neill Blomkamp a long time ago came up with the idea of making Alien 5, which would actually technically be Alien 3, wiping out Alien 3 and 4, restarting the storyline covering Higgs, Newt and Ripley after they get off the planet and everything, which is the story all of us have always wanted since the very beginning. And he had concept already released in a script, and Sigourney Weaver had signed on board, and even our director Ridley Scott had said he read the script and thought it was fantastic. And then spontaneously he comes up and is like, hey, fuck you guys, I'm Alien.
I'm going to make Prometheus.
Yeah.
And then now Alien Covenant.
Yeah.
And then also I'm going to have an interview.
To Alien Covenant.
Yeah, and then I have also 5 more Alien movies I want to do.
Yeah.
This is one's a prequel to the one I'm doing now.
Yeah. So the story behind why this all happened has been back and forth, but eventually Neill Blomkamp came out saying, like, I can't make this because Ridley Scott says I can't make Alien until, or the company did as well. Fox did as well. Until Ridley Scott's done making his Alien movie, so probably a few years off, then Ridley's like, well, you'll never get the chance because now I'm doing 5.
Yeah, now I'm just doing them forever for the rest of time.
Like, Sigourney will be 80 in this movie by the time you're ready to go, so you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott had this to say about Alien 5. I think he will never see the light. Which is
just like
I don't know how that. I don't know how to take that. I don't know what the context is.
Blatantly, just be like, or Neill Blomkamp, fuck you.
Yeah,
you're never getting out of your cave.
There was never a scenario, just an idea that evolved into a pitch of 10 pages. I had to participate as producer, but it did not go any further because Fox decided that they did not want to do it. I had already done Prometheus and worked on Covenant.
And the next part that goes where it's like, this seems to contradict what we have heard about Alien 5 previously. In case you weren't familiar with the situation or don't totally remember, Neill Blomkamp randomly posted concept art for it, blah, blah, blah. Fans went absolutely crazy for the artwork, and it led to them trying to get Sigourney Weaver to reprise the role. It went great, and then the script was reportedly done, that's a lot of fucking work. That's like a year's worth of work.
Yeah, like getting a script done is no easy feat.
So it's not like, oh, it was just an idea. Like, they worked on the script for a full fucking year.
And James Cameron, the director of Aliens, called it amazing.
Yeah. And, like, everyone was on board with this shit. So it was more than just an idea. Like, if it was just an idea, that would have been like Neill Blomkamp coming up with some concept art. Being like, my friend's a concept artist, he drew this shit, I'm really inspired, can I do something? Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Ridley Scott's going to do something, so you can't. Like, and then yeah, like, okay, so the idea's done. And it wouldn't probably never even have gone further than that. But, like, Sigourney Weaver was running around going, this is the best thing I've ever written, I love working with Neill Blomkamp. And then, like, fucking James Cameron is coming around going, it's amazing. They're like, script's done, concept art done. We're like, we're just waiting for fucking publishing rights.
Yeah, like, I don't... It seems so spiteful, and like maybe that's just the what we're getting from the small amount of information we know.
It's also his tone, though. Like, I mean, I'm sorry.
For sure, yeah. I think he will never see the light is really weird. Like,
and saying that it was just some fluffy idea,
Yeah, he's saying it was just an idea that evolved into a pitch of 10 pages. Like,
I doubt it
there was never a scenario. Yeah, like I don't know. It seems so like.
And then also the announcement time, because like he came out and he's like, I'm doing Prometheus, right? And we're like, oh, okay, so now Alien 5. And he's like, well, I'm going to do Covenant to finish off what was going to be a trilogy, I think, originally, or even just another movie. And then suddenly, he like, Neill Blomkamp's Alien 5 comes up with this epic hype and huge fan fervor, and suddenly he's like, no, you can't take Alien away from me. I'm Alien. I made Alien, so I get to make all the aliens. And
again, which is weird because...
I make 5 aliens.
I'm like, 5 aliens.
Yeah.
And again, that just seems weird. It would be a different story if this was like, someone's pet project that they created themselves, and they were finally going to let it into the wild and have another director have a go at it, and like, then they just couldn't, handle that, so they want to make another one. Kind of like...
handed us off at the first one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, someone made another one right after, and it was received just as well as yours, and then...
If not better.
Yeah, exactly. Aliens is probably the preferred one.
Mm-hmm.
And then many other people took a stab at it after that.
Mm-hmm.
Fincher with 3, Joss Whedon with Resurrection, and then AVP and AVP2, which just terrible movies.
But even then, also comic books and paraphernalia and books.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it was never like his story to tell.
No.
So it's so weird that
like
just
you drop
now.
the seed and then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not to discredit the work he did. Obviously, Alien is an amazing film, but like again,
Ridley Scott was an incredible director.
He's rubbed me the wrong way this entire time. Like just everything he's been saying in these interviews.
It comes off very clearly as a like, I fuck you. I'm a whiny child, and I want to be known as the alien guy.
I guess, yeah. It's so weird.
It's really weird, but I think this is a clear shot that Ridley Scott is doing everything in his power, and Fox maybe as well, because Ridley Scott would have Fox on his side.
Yep.
To make sure that Neill Blomkamp's movie will never happen.
That's what it seems like. Which sucks, because it sounded like a really cool idea.
It was an amazing idea. And the concept art for it was really great for like where it was directed.
That's probably the last we're going to hear with the story for a long time.
Yeah,
like, the next Alien story we're going to hear is about the next one of these, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And all that being said, I do think Alien Covenant looks pretty good, actually.
It's growing, and the prologue stuff they've released recently has made me actually care.
Yeah, so I'm interested in that movie for sure. Like, I was going to see it no matter what, because it's an Alien movie, so it doesn't really fucking matter.
I'd actually say for anyone out there who's completely resistant the idea of the movie because of everything that's going on, go check out the prologue stuff. It's all apparently not in the film. So there's one of the crew and then one of what happened with David and Maria, I think, was the girl on the ship.
Sounds right.
They're both actually, for 2 little shorts, I'm like, if this is what the movie's like, then yes, please God, give me this film. So
you heard it here first. Next up, this is a nice little story. Roseanne getting revival with Roseanne Barr, John Goodman, Sarah Gilbert, and company.
You're just excited because John Goodman.
Oh yes, I mean, I like Roseanne. Do you not like Roseanne?
I actually, funny enough, Roseanne was so everyone had their sitcom, right?
Yeah.
So my grandmother was MASH.
Makes sense.
Yeah, my mother was Cheers, and maybe it was just Cheers. My dad was never a sitcom guy at all. He hated sitcoms. But the one that always got put on because everyone would just have it on and wouldn't be like, fuck, I hate MASH or something, right?
Yeah.
Was Roseanne.
Roseanne's a good representation of like just a blue-collar family who are just kind of shitty people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's the
like
thing.
Good people, shitty people. Like
it did represent a lot of different components of us, too, right? Like Roseanne and John Goodman, both their characters as mom and dad, represented a lot of characters in my family because we're this good old classic, low-income Irish family. With that in a massive, giant Irish, low-income, massive family. So, like, they were all kind of like that, kind of smack-talky and just kind of gritty and just not dirty, you know what I mean?
It was a little bit, though. It was a little bit grimy around the edges.
Yeah.
They tackled a lot of, like, issues with that show, like, about, like, fucking prepubescent sex or whatever.
Yeah.
Prepubescent. Like, or whatever the fucking young teenager sex and all this shit.
Well, it was teenage pregnancy was young pregnancy, though.
Yeah, or, like, just that there was an episode where, like, they forgot to pay the bills or didn't have the bills, so the power just went off. And like,
wasn't there a blonde daughter? And this picture's missing a character.
Yes, the blonde daughter was originally played by someone else, and then got replaced by Sarah Chalk, who went on to play Elliot in Scrubs, and now Beth in Rick and Morty. Yeah, so that's her. Also, like, 3 of these people are on the Big Bang Theory now.
Yeah.
Sarah Gilbert is in the Big Bang Theory. I'm not sure if she is anymore. She was in the early seasons.
So was her boyfriend is on the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the boyfriend's the main character of Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And the Roseanne's sister is Sheldon's mom on Big Bang Theory. So, I mean, I think
But they said that Bing Bang
Bing Bang Theory.
Bing Bang Theory.
Bing Bang Boom.
Good. Gone. Is ending soon, right?
They have a Sheldon spinoff coming. I'm not really.
Oh well, fuck that shit. Whatever.
It's a young Sheldon spinoff in which the old Sheldon is going to narrate the show, I guess, about his young life.
Oh.
I think that's going to be it.
No. That show, Big Bang Theory, always felt like such a weird objectification of our culture. You know, because like everyone's like, I say they come up and meet me for the first time, right? And then everyone's like, "Oh, Mike's a big nerd. He likes comic books, video games, and like art and shit like that. And he's a big nerd." And they're like, "Oh, do you watch Big Bang Theory?" And I'm like, "No, I don't watch that." Oh, it's so funny. They're all like science nerds and stuff too. And they're like, "You guys are probably like that. And you probably get all the jokes that I don't get." And I'm like,
"There's nothing on that show that your average person couldn't get."
No, and I'm like, also, that's not what we're like. We're not like that. Like,
no, but I also I read an article once about like that show being the equivalent of like nerd blackface, and I was like, well, that's fucking stupid.
I could agree.
No, that's dumb. Like, it's just a sitcom with like outrageous stereotypes, which is every sitcom.
No, I agree. It didn't bother me to the point where I was like out there.
I also never. I have
in the middle of like Central Square going like bring down Big Bang Theory. Like I don't care, but I never watched the show because it didn't actually represent anything I knew.
It's fine. It's totally like a fine show. My only complaint about that is like occasionally they will have jokes that aren't jokes where it's like, hey, what are you guys doing? We're playing World of Warcraft, and then it's like laugh track, and you're like, so the joke is that they're playing a video, like it's that kind of thing where you're like, that's just shitty. But like it's a totally average sitcom, you know what I mean? Like,
well, hopefully now Roseanne comes back and brings back the good medium range sitcom that's generally approachable by all people.
Hell yeah, mediocre is what we strive for.
Of course, I haven't brought back Frasier or anything yet, but it'd be way better.
Ooh, that'd be cool, yeah. Just waiting on that. I'm sure most people are still waiting for like a Friends reunion at some point. That's a big one.
I think Jennifer Aniston would do that.
Yeah, I think so. They're all friends,
and
I think.
The Ross guy is like all like, I don't want to be famous.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, well you don't really need Ross. You can honestly, if he's not there, there's a huge potential for like, we were on a break joke to come back. You know what I mean? So.
And then Joey could be dancing around going like, remember that time I had one season of a show?
Yeah, that was a bad show. That was terrible.
No. I almost was cool enough to have a show.
What a mistake that show was.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up is some Marvel movie news instead of talking about Friends lore. James Gunn is planning Guardians of the Galaxy 4 with a new team of heroes. No, he's not. But this headline, they want to get the clicks. What's actually happening is James Gunn said this. I think the first 3 movies tell a story, and that story is pretty simple. I think there could be a Guardians Volume 4, but it would not be the same. It wouldn't be the same group. Basically, the story of this group ends with Volume 3, which also was announced. Did we talk about that last week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if we covered that yet.
Yep.
There's going to be a Volume 3 by James Gunn.
This totally makes sense because obviously all of the current arcs are all going to come to a head in the Infinity War, and the Infinity War ends off the first chapter. What the fuck do they call it? The first of the MCU. The phase. First phase. No, there's multiple phases in this, but there's a whole chapter section for like from Iron Man to Infinity War. They call that whole thing the MCU something.
The beginning?
It's a timeline. It's a timeline. In the whole timeline of the story and everything, it's all coming to the peak in Infinity War. And there's been a lot of talk about them swapping out the team for a new team when they hit into the next phase of the MCU after the Infinity War. That doesn't mean that they're killing everyone off. It could just mean they're handing the reins over to new people because they're like, I'm 50 and I don't want to throw my shield no more. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Just whatever. And they'll have cameo appearances, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I could definitely, yeah. This is setting up future where like 9 movies into the next phase, like after everyone else is there, like Robert Downey Jr. is like, I'm back, and like people just lose their shit, because it's been like 15 years.
But at the same time too, like with most characters, when you watch a TV series like Buffy or Star Trek or anything like that, and they're like the only one that passed was Voyager for Star Trek, 'cause like they couldn't get home, but for everyone else, they're out there and they're like all they're doing is running into nightmares and destruction and horrible things everywhere, and they're doing this for like 30 years or some shit, and you're just like, Go home. Like, stop. You at this point now, with every arc you've done, you've saved the world and fought every evil, and then at the end of it, you're just like, we're just gonna keep going. Like, you don't actually enjoy it. You spent the whole series complaining about how you don't like it, so stop. So it's the same thing with this. Like, before we get tired of these characters, which could happen. I mean, we're even starting to get a little bit achy on all the characters we currently have. Then let's move on to something new, right? And I want to see, like, another version of Star-Lord, and I want to see, like, whatever it might be for difference for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I'm excited about, like, the future of the MCU, because now it's coming to a head finally, you know?
Another thing that always got me about, like, space travel movies and stuff, and it came up in my head with Guardians of the Galaxy 2, was, you know, where he talks in the first movie about, it's like sleeping with an Ascavarian, and she's like needles for a vagina or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was her mouth, I don't know.
Yeah, make some comment.
Like, that was one of the first times I ever addressed the fact that, like, we're not, like, compatible, but, like, we assume everything's humanoid, but we also assume it has a vagina.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you see something humanoid enough, like, when it's just a fucking, what are those things from Star Trek, the forehead ridges?
Klingons.
Yeah, like, when you see that, you're just like, oh, you're just, like, slightly uglier than humans, like, then, so
yeah, but, like,
you probably have a
dick.
dick.
Exactly the same thing.
I mean, when you look at it, just from the outside, it's just a human with, like, a ridgy forehead, and, like, why wouldn't, like, at most he has a ridgy penis, like, at most, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's, the shaft is it's, like, ribbed for your pleasure.
But when they talk about having sex with these crazy ones, they're always just like, oh, it's got, like, whatever, fucking needles for a vagina, right? But they talked kind of like he already did it. Like, he was like, yeah, I went through that. Like, what?
Well, he was already in the situation. It's too awkward to pull out. You know, at some point, you're in too deep, literally and metaphorically, and you gotta keep plumbing that depth.
It's like the sound of, like, that, like a sewing machine going. And I guess for her race, like, the throes of pain are, like, the same sound as pleasure. Ah, that must be really good.
Oh yeah, who knows what noise it makes, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like a dog whistle. All the animals start freaking out in the vicinity, but you can't hear anything. Just dead silence, dead face, like.
Or it's a full dog call, and they're all just, like, clamoring at the windows.
What does that mean? I'm coming. Like, just this dead face, like no actual facial expressions or anything.
Just the sound of a sewing machine, and then dogs clamoring at the door.
That'd be so distracting.
It would be.
Every dog in the 5-mile radius is like at your place, scratching at the door. Okay, moving on. Vin Diesel. Let's talk about Vin Diesel for a second.
That relates to alien sex.
Yeah. Vin Diesel reveals that we haven't yet seen a fully grown Groot. So they're all on press tour right now.
Is he talking to, like, non-comic book fans? Because we've seen a lot more Groot than everyone else.
He says, well, he still has quite a bit of growing to do before his future appearance in Avengers Infinity War. It seems the adult Groot we met in the first film isn't actually the character's full-grown state, according to Diesel. The first Groot we saw was a freshman in college. This Guardians 2 Groot is nursery school. Wait till we see the full-fledged working man Groot. Wait till we see Groot. Diesel has made it no secret that he wants to see Groot square off with Mark Ruffalo's The Incredible Hulk. So much so that he'd apparently prefer a spin-off featuring those two characters as opposed to a spin-off with Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, what?
Vin Diesel goes on to say, James Gunn has always wanted to do a Rocket and Groot movie. And I know that Disney is very much into being successful. And the most successful poster in Disney's future is the poster that has Groot versus Hulk. The world cannot wait to see it.
You're just telling us this. I'm also going to do Riddick versus Groot.
Yes, I'm sure he's, like, just fucking in that studio every day, just, like, pushing, like, could Pitch Black 3 be in the Marvel Universe? Like, no, it's just Vin. Get out of here. You brought stilts in to record saying, I am Groot. Stop doing this.
This man is so angry about not being out that he's constantly in fights lately, it seems. Like, not like he's thinking about is getting into fights. Like, fighting with The Rock. And
yeah, he's fighting with The Rock.
Yeah. Fighting with fucking... What is it he want to fight? Oh, Hulk.
He wants to fight the Hulk.
Yeah.
He wants Groot, and he wants two things that can barely talk in a movie to fight.
Yeah, that whole thing is just... Groot. Groot.
I am Groot. Look, that's all. All right. As for which version of Groot is the actor's favorite, Diesel had this to say. They're all one and the same to me. It's like saying, who do I like better? Grade school Vin or high school Vin? I love that he substitutes himself.
You also sound like Sylvester Stallone right now.
Duh, they are the same. But high school Vin could drive some fast cars. Mr. Diesel, do you remember what movie you're promoting?
Yeah.
It's not. We're here for Guardians, not
Fast and the Furious.
Fast and the Furious.
For God's sake.
He's
It's
like,
just going to be this whole movie. It's going to be like Hulk versus Riddick versus Groot versus what's his character's name in Fast and the Furious?
Dom.
Dom?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what you're going to call that movie, but it would be kind of excellent.
Just fast.
Just fast. Fast tree.
Fast tree. Yeah, I could be into that. So yeah, if you don't know, Groot Groot grows to many different sizes in the comics. It's not. I didn't necessarily think we'd see that in the MCU, but like, it's not surprising to me that
Well, what I was looking forward to with Groot was actually like just concept art and art design wise was just that. Like the character Groot itself, its form is really at the end of the day it's its own determination. It could be any kind of plant, humanoid form, even non, if it wanted to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just grows itself from its core, and then that's it. So I was kind of interested in seeing what differences they would make in each film, instead of just like doing Groot again, right? Maybe make a big plated battle armor version or whatever, right? Now everyone's adores little Groot and they like cute things. I don't really give a shit, but whatever. So I was like, I mean, whatever. I'll take mini Groot. Fine, we have a character like that in there. But I am actually looking forward to seeing them tackle that. So Vin Diesel, not understanding what movie he's currently shooting aside.
He's just trying to get himself more jobs in this interview.
I fight things. You make me fight things? I have a thing that I fought in this one.
Have you ever seen this little movie called Riddick?
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck?
I am like looking forward to seeing Groot in some other forms and shapes and stuff too.
Sure, I like when he looks a little bit crazier than his movie form. Like in the comics, when he has like his head's like a little bit like longer and he has like a bunch of twigs coming off and like.
You did it like I'm actually working on that piece again. I just worked on it today and I'm gonna finish it off tonight. You drew it with where like the wood plates go back, like kind of like xenomorph like headset style into that direction.
Did I draw that?
No, not xenomorph in like the rounded shape. I mean in that direction where it does that slant backwards. You know what I mean?
I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that way more.
Mm.
You know, like that makes a much cooler line sense for the whole thing, and it makes it look a little bit more armor rather than like a crown.
Yeah, it is like very much like a crown in the MCU. I like this design too, but like I just find his comic book form look like a little more dynamic looking, you know, with all the shit on him and shit.
I also want a little bit more out of the character himself too, because like really at the end of the day, he's one of the ones with the most powers, even though technically not. Anyways, like just him growing roots and stuff. Like, for example, that child comes up to a plant that can grow any plant, anything, could make anything grow, He can make glowing phosphorus plants, whatever you want.
Yeah.
And he makes a fucking single daisy for that child. Like, you could have just grown in that instant an entire bouquet of wildflowers from every planet in the universe. And he just like, here, a fucking daisy.
Well, now you're
like a weed.
Now you're making this beautiful moment make him sound like a dick.
Well, I was just like, come on, dude. Like, in half a second, you could have grown anything else that was prettier than a daisy. The daisies don't like being daisies. They're an ugly flower. Like anything else. A rose, even. For God's sakes.
Dandelion.
Yeah.
Enjoy your life.
Yeah, just anything. Or even just, like, grown her food since she's starving.
Yeah, that's true. Have a bite.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we're getting into the DC news. DC, baby! All right, Young Justice Season 3. It's finally happening, folks. Mm-hmm. After this long wait. We have a name. It's called fucking Young Justice Outsiders.
Which DC needs to stop naming shit.
The second season was, is Invasion?
Was it?
Yeah, it was like Young Justice Invasion.
I just watched it on Netflix, so it was just Young Justice on there. So.
Yeah, second season was Young Justice Invasion. So, whatever. Subtitle's not important. It's fucking coming out in 2018. Is that all we have? Is just 2018?
Well, early 2018. So the story behind this whole thing is, of course, the part that sucks.
Yes, that's both shows will air exclusively on a new DC-focused digital service run by Warner Brothers Digital Networks Group that promises to, quote, deliver an immersive experience designed just for DC fans.
So, like, remember back in the day when you used to buy cable packages because you had to try and get all the channels you wanted, and it ended up costing you like $120 in cable packages just to get the shows you wanted?
You're like, I just want Animal Planet. I don't want like ESPN 17 with it. Just give me the one.
And there was no package that just gave you everything you wanted, and even then, those packages never lasted forever. So we got Netflix, and finally we're like, okay, great, we have one place we can go just for our content. Most of it. Most of it. But we just pay that now $14, and we're good to go. I have my service, right? And if I need to rent anything, I've got iTunes. And then now they're splintering off and all these things. Like there's a Cloak and Dagger or something, or what show was it? That was a big Marvel one. Was on some.
Yeah, it's Cloak and Dagger's on some like pitiful streaming
service
I
somewhere.
don't even remember what it's called.
No, and like now DC is like all of our DC content in one spot, which will rip it off of Netflix because they won't compete.
But who wants like DC flicks? Like who's only like going there? So unless
if it's all of the DC. Well, the WC stuff won't come off airing on normal channels.
CW, yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Like, unless you have, like... I mean, look, DC, you have a good backlog of stuff. You have the Batman animated series, you got Batman Beyond. Yeah. Like, if everything you ever done, animated and, live action is in there, like, it's kind of cool. Like, I could still only see it having it for a month, though.
No, like, that's the thing. I don't want to rewatch that shit enough.
So, unless they do a simultaneous release, like, they're like, The Flash is on CW at 8 tonight, and then at 10 p.m. you can also get it on this DC service if you want to watch it there.
Yeah, well, that's probably what they're going to do, but, like,
that's the only other way, like, I could see it being, like, mildly worth it. Because if it's just, like, here's everything we've ever done, it's, like, 50 things. Like, that's, it's not good enough.
No, and I don't even want to rewatch any, like, I rewatch some DC content. Like, I like the original Justice League, I like Young Justice, I like, of course, the original Batman series.
I like some of the animated movies.
Yeah. Emerald Knight's awesome. Like there's some great stuff in there, but I don't rewatch them often enough, and have probably watched them a total of 2-3 times, and that's average for most viewers out there. Like you're not like turning it on every night unless you're a hardcore DC fan.
Yeah. And
you probably only number in the hundreds of thousands across the globe who would do that. I don't care about the rest of the stuff. All I care about is fucking Young Justice, and now I'm gonna have to probably pirate it.
Yeah.
To just watch the show. Fucking. Like, I get it. Netflix is scary. They make more money than all of you combined, and, you want to have your piece of the pie back.
That's the thing, that you have all these people thinking that, like, well, no, Netflix is getting all this money, and we're only getting this little piece of the pie because they pay us this for the rights, and, like, well, if we went off and did our own thing, we'd make a lot more money, and then they just fail to realize that no one fucking gives a shit about just that one thing.
Yeah.
We like Netflix because, like you said, it's a conglomerate of just most of everything. Just
channel surfing was never fun. Like, no one ever sits back and remembers TV and goes sitting there doing, like, the old patterns you used to make on the thing that you do 25, 29, 36, 48. Like, you had the patterns of the ones you constantly click in.
Yep.
And, like, we didn't like having to have the whole fucking cable menu box pull up and then scrolling through 300 channels to find one show you might like, but you missed 6 others because your timing was off and you didn't scroll back up 200 channels.
Yep.
Like, we don't miss that. And the fact that we have our content for us in one place, now we're not going to want to constantly go around and subscribe and find all of your different networks to get access to your fucking show. Like,
yeah, so this is kind of a dumb move, especially when you're bringing back this, like, beloved show.
Which also, if that's the thing, we're trying to bring this back, and they're going to be like, oh, well, it wasn't successful. Well, it wasn't the show, it was your stupid service.
I know. I hate when fucking companies do this. It's like Capcom when they did Breath of Fire, and they made, like, a fucking iOS MMO, and they're like, well, it didn't do that well, so Breath of Fire's dead. And it's like, you made it an MMO on the phone! Of course it didn't do well!
Yeah.
Oh, we made Mario Galaxy a fucking card game? It didn't do well. Like, no shit!
Yeah, even the fucking Square Enix clued into that. They were like, oh, we're keep releasing our Final Fantasies on iOS. And then they're like, but no one buys our iOS Final Fantasies, because no one wants to play Final Fantasy 9 on their iPhone.
Nobody.
Not even on an iPad. No one wants to hold that thing until it cuts into the webbing of your fingers.
Just disappointing.
Rant over.
Next up in DC world, the Flash movie may get director Robert Zemeckis, and if you don't know, he's the man who directed Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what history event you're gonna attend. And he also did Back to the Future 1 2.
Do they do that just because they watched Forrest Gump and were like, he runs a lot in that movie?
That's their fucking...
Isn't that their tie-in? They're like, so he should do the Flash, because the Flash runs, right? Yeah, there you go.
They're just grasping at straws at this point. Back to the Future, he did Back to the Future. Flash goes Back to the Future. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, again, this fucking headline is kind of wrong. He's not in talks with DC. He had a meeting, like, it seems like one meeting, and that was it. And they're still meeting with other directors. So, he might be a candidate in a pool of other directors, but not necessarily, like, this is like he's going to be the one to direct it next.
He's definitely we're just making jokes, but I mean, as a director goes, you're talking about a talented man who's done some great films.
So, for sure.
I think putting him in on a movie like this is a great idea, especially since DC has to kind of change its tone, right? Being the giant blockbuster action films is not working for them. So if they started tackling their characters on a more emotional scale with more people side, I think it would make them more interesting as a competition to the Marvel films.
I don't even know if they can do that at this point. Like with Flash, anyway. Flash seems like, from what we're speculating about it, seems so like X, Y, and Z need to happen for the rest of the DCU to work out, you know?
Yeah, you're stuck. But, you know, you never know what's going to happen with a lot of the changes that are coming, and hoping Jeff Johns' impacts come in first with Wonder Woman.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Next up, speaking of Wonder Woman and the mystery of the missing marketing. But Wonder Woman hasn't got a lot of press or promotional material, and I saw a lot of people talking about this in the last couple of days, and at first I was like, no, I think it's fine. Like, I was like, I seen just as much Wonder Woman as I think I saw of, like, Batman vs. Superman or Suicide Squad or whatever. But then when you actually look at, like, how many TV spots they did for Suicide Squad and Batman vs. Superman, you start to see, like, oh, they've only had, like, 5 trailers with Wonder Woman in it now. And, like, that's...
even, like, ad campaign-wise, like, everything on every feed you ever see is fucking, whatever movies coming. Fucking Transformers is, like, on every feed, right?
Yeah.
But Wonder Woman isn't. Like, it barely ever shows up. I think that maybe this is also part of the directors and the producers' influence on it, though, because maybe they're doing it that all of our DC films have been, like, here's the whole movie in 1,001 trailers. We talk about the movie every 5 seconds. We're talking about what it's like life on the set. You know, did we get a dirty condom today from Jared Leto? You know, so shit like that. Like, every 5 seconds there was some news, which not only destroys the film because, like, you get spoiled and you just kind of get overwhelmed with it, but also it gives it an emotional context. Like, Suicide Squad might have been received a little bit better, just at least even public opinion of it, if the whole thing wasn't like, Jared Leto's freaking out, and here's his condoms, and like, and Margot Robbie, like, she's doing this. And,
yeah, or at least his part might have been better received if, it wasn't all that, like, hype for, like, Joker's in the movie for 6 minutes.
Yeah, like, there you go. Like, I think maybe that's the decision on their part to purposely be more withheld. I don't think this is the movie that they should have been this withheld about.
No, I don't think so either. This is also, like, the first female superhero, like, movie that we've gotten. Like, and they're just, like...
That's the thing.
And it looks like they're just being like, nah.
Yeah, and this is the female superhero. Like, there is really, like, if you go female superhero, it's Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
like,
it's Wonder Woman. It's the one you think of.
Yeah. And we really need to be pumping the shit out of this so that this movie, which I hope and looks currently like it's going to be quite good, needs to be, like, epic so that the future female movies get as much attention. And it looks wrong as well, again, where they're like, we don't know if women sell. They didn't sell well because you didn't sell it.
Yeah, because exactly, you didn't sell it to anybody. Like, it's
like, fuck. But whatever, you know. The best thing we can do as a fan base out there, everybody, is make sure to at least attend the film. Make sure to support this. As much as we can hope is maybe... I don't think it's going to be a bad movie in any context.
No, I don't think so.
But even if it's just floating at a 60%, like, go and see it, guys. Just go give us support. Otherwise, you're never going to see the great female superheroes that you all want in there.
So, I agree with Mike.
Yeah.
All right, next up. Ghost in the Shell loses $60 million.
So we may not see women, and we're definitely not seeing anime.
No, anime's dead. Anime's dead forever.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like, after all this talk me and you had about, like, is anime the next superhero bubble? Is anime the next this or that? It's going to be a huge fucking industry. There's so much to pull from.
All the talks came in, and they're like, we're going to start shooting for Akira. We're going to start shooting for, like, Cyborg 099, Battle of Angel Alita, which actually I think is in production.
I'm sure there's some stuff that's, like, too far along to stop now.
Yeah.
Like, I know they were trying to do a live-action Naruto too and stuff.
Yeah, that's probably way further off. But Battle of Angel Alita is definitely happening, though.
Yeah, like, I'm sure stuff is too far in production now, but, like, this might make them lose faith in it at this point.
But the stuff that's in production as well, like Battle of Angel Alita, is stuff that, like, I, as an epic anime and manga nerd as a kid, I watched Battle of Angel Alita, but, like, you had no fucking clue what that was.
No.
Yeah, so, like, this is going to be the fucking Edge of Tomorrow again, where everyone's like, oh, that was an anime?
Yeah, exactly.
We need the Ghost in the Shell level shit to succeed.
So, why do you think this movie did so poorly? Like...
So the whitewashing damaged it. Which I still don't even...
Do you think that much, though?
Yeah.
You think that much?
Yeah, probably.
I don't think most people give a fuck about that. I don't think, like, by and large, most people even knew about that issue or cared about it.
They admitted that they said publicly that they thought the whitewashing controversy damaged the film's success.
Man, I feel like if I brought that up to, like, the average person, I was like, why didn't you see Ghost in the Shell? I feel like, A, they'd just say, like, huh? Like, you know, and then B, just not know about that issue. Like, I feel like those trailers were cool. Like, if you just look at them as, like, here's a movie. And, like, you know, the visuals are so cool. I thought more people would just go see it because they were like, look at this fucking weirdo cyber Tokyo world, you know? I just thought it would... I did not think it would lose $60 million.
So that was the three reasons. I think the whitewashing damaged it. I thought the ad campaign was weird. Remember, like, those 5-second blips and shit?
It definitely was.
And then, like, even what was coming out was kind of odd. And, like, not really... Like, it appealed to the anime fans because they were doing all these shots directly from the anime, but there was something like changes in the message where they're like, we're being super loyal, and then suddenly they're like, but the story is literally nothing to do with the anime.
Like, but it's also completely different.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like the fans fell off at that point. And then, like, as of the second it hit screens for, like, the first initial reviews, people were shitting on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously the next step.
But that doesn't mean anything. Suicide Squad is, like, a 0%, and it did like, pretty well. Like, you know, it made money.
Yeah, but it's based on a comic book franchise, so everyone's just, like... Any Joe Schmo is running out.
I mean, yeah, you know, like
we're going to go see the movie today. What do you want to see? Suicide Squad.
I want to see Joker. Yeah. You know, I want to see...
Yeah. Oh, I heard it's a superhero movie. I could be down for some, like, punching action. But they go Ghost in the Shell, where they're, like, a cerebral movie about the formation of intelligence of robots meeting AI to merging man with machine. And guns. Like, like that's...
But also guns.
Yeah, like it's a harder sell for an initial sell.
Yeah.
It doesn't have an established MCU or DCU.
I guess so, yeah. I just didn't... Yeah, I did not think it would do so spectacularly poorly. Like, I really didn't. I thought it would, like, recoup its money at least.
I thought it would make its money back at least as well.
Yeah.
Just visually, like, I thought people would go and see it. I mean, people fucking went and saw the stupid Jupiter Ascending. It made its money back, didn't it?
Probably.
Yeah.
People see Transformers. Like, and that's, like I know Transformers is very simple and, like, dumb, but, like, it is, you know, there's just giant robots hitting, like, I don't know. Anyways, it's very strange to me. So we'll see where fucking anime goes in the future.
Maybe there's a thing that's like, we put this out there as a question to the audience out there, to our anime fans out there. I've never really asked the community, but are you against anime becoming film? And maybe there's a general sense of like, fuck, I don't want to see my movies or my anime in main culture. I like it being my anime subculture. You know, maybe with like the culture of anime fandom is being an otaku or whatever is resistant to North American movies.
Maybe. I feel like I mean, I can't get behind that because there's so many people that I want to show like something like Death Note to, where I'm like, I know you'd like this. I know you don't want to. I'm like, I know you don't want to watch fucking anime, but like, if there was like a live action version that was like faithful and good, like and represented the anime, like you would like this story. I know you don't want to watch cartoons, but like you would like this, you know.
I hate this. The same thing. It's like they're like, oh, you're watching cartoons, and I'm like, but we just finished watching Rick and Morty. You love Rick and Morty. It's like the second the camera pans up to show anime eyes, they're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like they're too googly. I can't do it. Like,
yeah.
It's the same shit. It's actually more adult than what you're watching.
Yeah. It's a barrier for some people.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to some video game news. We only got 4 stories. Light on video game news this week, unfortunately.
We should just give everyone anime googly eyes. That way we get people rejected. You know, like you're walking around and be like, all right, I don't want to talk to this person. Activate anime googly eyes. And be like, oh, and go away. And you're like, works great.
It'd be a good, augmented reality app. So if no one wants to talk to you, just put on the fucking Sailor Moon eyes.
Yeah. It becomes the international symbol of no.
Like you're just looking at this girl on the bus, and you're like, should I go over and talk to her? She's really cute. And oh fuck, she put the anime's eyes on.
Yeah,
just go back to your phone. Oh no, fuck, shut the cat ears. No, all right.
Oh god, she's really not interested.
Yeah. Oh fuck, she hates men.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, despite hype, VR investment fades in Q1 2017. Yeah. Venture capitalists are showing a diminished appetite for virtual and augmented reality startups this year compared to last. Both the number of funding rounds and total investments made into the space have slowed down in Q1 of 2017.
And pretty drastically. Not like this, like, oh, there's a small trend. It's like,
it's quite down. Like, if you could see this bar graph, you'd fucking your jaw would drop. According to the Crunchbase data, a total of 26 companies with AR or VR focused businesses raised a disclosed funding round in the first quarter of this year. Together, the firms raised over just $200 million in 2017. This result compares to 29 companies in 2016 raising just over $1 billion. 2017 also marks the lowest quarterly number of financings and investments total in over a year. In the chart below, blah, blah. So, do you think this data is exactly what it looks like? Like, VR is, like, slowly fading? No, or do you think this is, like,
okay, so
they fucking invested in it last year, so, like, they're just, like, waiting on the return of their investment this year, It's not done yet.
There's a lot of way more statistics to go in. Like, you can make a bar graph out of anything to sell any information you want. So, no, I don't think that like this bar graph would be like you hand this out and be like, this is proof it's failing. However,
VR is dead.
Yeah, industry itself has proved this in more context, so it is true in that way. So like the fact that the Sony headset, what's that called again?
Sony VR, PlayStation
the
VR.
PlayStation VR, and then there's the Sony. Is it the Sony Vive or Vive? The Vive is someone else. No,
Vive is like HTC.
HTC. The HTC Vive and stuff like that. But with the Sony headset, they had all the pre-orders. They thought it was going to be a neat new thing, and then the day it released open market, it dropped down to like 2 sales, like literally.
No, they sold out.
No, no new headsets were sold after that point.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like
of Sony's?
Yeah. We reported on this.
No. I mean, like they just like 2 months or maybe like a month ago, they just reported like we sold out of like VRs. We actually didn't expect them to sell out because they made fewer of them.
I still have the article. We reported on it where they like had great pre-sales, and then when it became a public thing, they sold like nothing.
You keep talking for a second.
Yeah, but either way, they're not the only one that's been reporting that. Oculus itself has also been having some troubles with like trying to get their product out there with the competition, as well as the fact that there's not a huge demand. But nevertheless, there's just a general trend. Also, the big part about it is in my community, for people I speak to, so my professors at school that I work with, also to industry and market that I speak to, they all literally give me the exact same line. It's super cool, and I'm excited for it, which I am too, but the technology is not ready, and it's not usable in my space, right? So no designer is looking at this going like, there's so much that needs to be developed before I ever put this thing on my head to work in, you know? And I'm not interested in sticking myself into a virtual reality world. I want augmented reality. I want to sit at my desk and work and like know my world, right? Getting myself removed isn't the context I want. I got that feedback a lot. I also got like, you know, the technology isn't doing what I needed to do. You know, there's already systems out there that work far superior. They've got like years of dev, you know, like if you're going to do 3D modeling, like there's a system out there that works to a very specific standard that breaks currently, because it barely works, to make good assets for film and video games and everything else. Like there's just that gap that still hasn't crossed. And they're selling it out like it's currently ready. Yeah, and like I mean, even anecdotally, just from podcasts I listen to and stuff, like there was like this little boom last year when like people were just not shocked about it. The new headsets were releasing, everyone's playing the games, and then now it's just like kind of petered off, and like no one is really talking about it that much, and no one seems to be playing it. Granted, there hasn't been a game for it since like RE7, I guess, was the last big one that had functionality. Yeah, but, and even Final Fantasy 15 had stuff, but. It's kind of like reminiscent of other technologies that have popped out like that, and we're like, oh, this is the thing, and it's super cool, and it's the next like step in like super technology. I mean, hell, some handhelds were like that for a while. Even the release of switching from cartridge to disc was a big thing in consoles, right? Like certain consoles came out with disc stuff well before they were ready to, and then Sony capitalized by doing it right when they finally got to a point where they were good enough. You know, like it's the same thing again. We're just the device is out because it's usable. Is it ready? And here we are back at cartridges with Nintendo. Oh my god, that thing is so... Did you hear about the whole thing with Nintendo where they were like, they released that mini Super Nintendo? Yeah, right? Well, Nintendo. Nintendo, sorry. But they released like almost none of them, so it became like the most sought after thing on the planet. Like people are selling them for like $500,000 on eBay and shit. Yeah. And like no one can find one in stores anywhere. And then they eventually were like, well, we're not making anymore. So they stopped making them. And everyone's like, well, why would you stop making them? We're asking for more. Yeah. Like we're take the money and make the more things. And they're like, well, it didn't sell very well. You're like, because you didn't make enough. Nintendo are... Well, and here's the other click. Now they just released a new, smaller one. Are they? Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah. Nintendo is the king of like, when they make decisions, you think like, well, that's really dumb. Yeah. But there must be like a master plan going on that like this all makes sense, because you wouldn't make a decision like this unless you had like a future plan. And they've shown since like 2006 that like they don't have a plan. Also for this, so this is what I was talking about for clarification. The Times spoke with Sony Interactive Entertainment's global chief executive Andrew House, who revealed that Sony had sold 915,000 headsets since the product's launch last October. Sony had planned to sell 1 million devices by the middle of April this year and is likely to pass that goal. So yeah, they sold like more than they thought they would, I think. Well, Maybe it was a different headset then.
It might have been HTC Vive or Oculus or something.
It was a headset. You're right, because maybe it's not Sony, but there was a certain headset that was like they had all great pre-sales. They hit market for open sales. It just dropped to like almost zero sales for a month. We reported on it. It was really weird. But that's the thing. Like it's inconsistent.
Oh yes, I remember what you're talking about. Yeah. I remember reporting on that now. I don't remember who it was. It probably was Vive.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, one of the companies. Like to have a trend like that for any device, even if you have competition, like.
Yeah, where you sell like zero. Yeah, that's not good.
Like, that's not good.
Next up, Square Enix lists upcoming games. Doesn't list Kingdom Hearts 3 for 2017. This is not surprising exactly, but it was making headlines, so I figured we'd talk about it. Was a question to the audience. Hit us up on Twitter if you have an answer to this. Did you think Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to come out this year?
Some people have been talking about it like it is, but I just thought
there's no way. Like we just got Final Fantasy 15. Yeah. There's no way we get Kingdom Hearts 3, the other one we've been waiting for like 15 years. Like
no.
The next year. There's no way.
But I expect it in 2018 because they are releasing more and more content. So.
The established pipeline, I guess, is Final Fantasy 15. I guess that's just DLC. Rise of the Tomb Raider with some Japanese text under it.
I think that's Rise of the Tomb Raider. I thought we just did that one.
Yeah, maybe that's a Japanese release. I don't know if it's out there. No,
or it's an expansion.
Oh, this is 2017. No, wait, no, we're in 2017. What the fuck is all this? This is already out.
All of this is out.
That's dumb. Okay, so 2018 and beyond, Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age, and that's just to be released. They did a really poor job with this chart. Mm-hmm. To be released in 2017 is Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age. That's the remaster. 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy. I don't know what the fuck that is. Final Fantasy 7 Remake is 2018 and beyond, and Kingdom Hearts 3 is 2018 and beyond. And Marvel IP license, which is written in a nice like Helvetica font here. Yeah. Really good shit.
Well, I mean, that's kind of exactly how we expected it, so...
I did not expect another huge Square Enix title this year. Mm-hmm. Next up, Capcom teases major title due out before March 31st, 2018. Capcom plans to launch a major title before March 31st, 2018. Capcom listed in its strategies and plans overview for the fiscal year ending in March 31st, 2018. I'm saying March 31st, 2018 a lot. Can I say March 31st, 2018 any more times? March 31st, 2018.
You're like an auctioneer trying to sell it. March 31st, 2018. You want to buy something? You want to buy it?
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Well done.
Yeah.
You didn't screw that up once.
No, I'm really good at saying wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Yes, you are.
Like really good at it. I don't know why.
Have you been practicing?
No, I just can say it. It's weird. I mean, I practice in the sense that like I've said it before, but I don't like sit there at night like, okay, Cal, rub my fucking hands together. You can do this. You can wacky waving inflatable R selling she sells. Fuck. Anyways, okay. It is unknown whether it is an unannounced title, such as the long dormant Deep Down or the Resident Evil 2 remake, or something completely new.
Deep golf.
The company has also said it expects to sell 2 million copies of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which launches September 19th, and 2 more million copies of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, which launched on January 24th.
Is it doing well?
Resident Evil sold. They just released the data. It was something like 3.5 million, which is it's less than the other Resident Evils, but good. Still good, you know. Like
no, I was not saying it's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. But like Resident Evil 6 ended up selling like 7-8 million or something. Like more obviously, but I mean, when you look at something that's like Resident Evil 6 is an action game with a zombie
reaction, or at least maybe my feeds weren't tuned to like pick it up. Even though I followed a lot of Resident Evil 7 stuff, I didn't like in the way that like Horizon Zero Dawn came out, and then like every single feed.
Oh, it was no Horizon Zero Dawn for sure.
Everyone was just basically sticking their dick right through the screen and coming on my face, just being like, "Play!" Like,
I've had a different experience, but I also follow a lot of horror stuff, like specifically, so I just see a lot of it, you know.
But I didn't get like the response. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, this has been really amazing." Like it was just like that was fun. That was my impression of what the reaction to the game was.
Again, I've heard like I feel like every reaction to it. So.
Yeah. Okay. No. So I was asking. I'm like, I wonder if you had gotten a different sense of it.
Yeah. Again, but I listen to so many more podcasts than you, so it's hard for me to gauge like what your experience is to mine. It's what echo chambers you're in, right? Like.
What's the thing? I'm
in a lot of horror echo chambers, so I just see it fucking people talking about it.
I find like
now all of a sudden Outlast 2 is getting talked about a ton. It just released like yesterday.
I also find that all the times whenever you start getting like your feed, because like Facebook feeds and Twitter feeds and all this stuff, like for your favorites, they actually register what you hover over or click on more often, right? So it pops up more often in your feed, and suddenly you're like, why is it suddenly that all I'm getting is like underwear ads when I just like accidentally walked away from a computer while it sat on an underwear ad once. But like even with Horizon, like when I was like I love Horizon, it didn't just fill me up with I love Horizon feed stuff. It was also like, why this is the worst game ever made, and I'm like, because like it always tried to give me this strong contrast just to like make me click, and I'm like, who the fuck thinks that? And I'm like, oh, like
it's clickbait.
Yeah, like some asshole somewhere, and it doesn't matter.
The game stars a woman, and that's just SJW propaganda. I can't get behind a woman in a video game. That's never happened before, and you're just trying to insert politics. I'm not worth listening to. That's fucking.
Vaginas can't fight things.
Yeah, that's.
Don't their breasts get in the way?
Yeah. like, you ever heard the people arguing that like they're like, oh, I can't relate to that character because it's a woman. And it's like, well, like all the girls playing couldn't relate to Kratos, but like I'm sure there's some girls that found God of War fun.
And him quite relatable.
You don't have to also relate to the character you're playing as. That's not always the point.
No, but you can empathize with them.
You can empathize with them. You can just enjoy their journey. Yeah. You don't need to relate to them.
You can be motivated as an individual.
Like what about Lara Croft's new game? Like was really like centered her being a woman, where you were like, oh, can't relate to that. She's getting her period in the middle of like this battlefield. It's really affecting my play. I don't.
I would actually think that was amazing.
She's just like, oh, cramp. You gotta go off the side, do a band-aid.
No. I don't mean, like, she's like, just stops the game. Like, in the middle of a whole firefight with a dragon, and she just was, I was like, whoa, what's going on?
A dragon.
And the dragon's just like, oh, yeah, okay, totally, girl, I gotta go, you go.
Okay, you go.
Yeah.
We can continue this later.
No, I'm not talking about that, but, like, if she was, like, out surviving in the wild, and it was one of the things...
Oh, sure, yeah. That would actually be interesting to see.
Yeah, like, incorporate the fact that her body works like a regular female's. It's not, like, you know... Also, to all the guys out there, if you are one of those assholes, but maybe somehow by a miracle have a girlfriend, your girlfriend does do that, and you know it.
Right now, the person listening who's like that, he's just like slowly starting to get angry, and he's like eyeing his girlfriend on the side, like, you better not get periods.
You don't bleed.
Yeah.
You know, like, we know this happens, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just, always fucking flabbergasting. Yeah. Alright, last story. Nintendo confirms no live E3 presentation this year. This is not a news story. No. They haven't had a live presentation.
In 4 years.
At least. Like, I'm not sure how long it's been, but it's been quite a while.
Last year they do a stupid fucking stream or something. They were like, we're streaming us playing Mario Kart.
So yeah, for the last couple of years they'll do a Nintendo Direct. And the Nintendo Direct is like usually their big one for the year. It's like it's like their E3 conference just streamed. Mm-hmm. And then they have this thing called Treehouse where they're like, these fucking idiots are playing ARMS or whatever, you know, and that's it. Last year, remember they were on the show floor and all they did was show Zelda. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it worked.
Nintendo's never been very good with their stage shows. I mean, we've had more video and more GIFs and more goofiness from Nintendo. Yeah,
they're, I want to say, out of touch, and for some reason when they put their out of touchness, I feel like into a video. Like the directs, it comes off as more like charmingly out of touch. Like they're like, oh my god, you guys thought this was a funny joke? It's funny that you guys thought that was funny. All right, that's cute.
No, but when they're on a public stage and they're out there like waggling around and they're like, look, we made something cool.
And they're like, hee hee, and they're playing like Wii music. And you're like, oh god.
You're like, oh, you're standing in front of people.
This is a mistake. Nintendo was like, I mean, this was I actually X'd this from the news stories from like last week or 2 weeks ago. But Nintendo like said this year like they're very excited about E3 and like we have lots to show you and like we can't wait and all this stuff. And at first I was like, of course your company saying that, like who's like, you know, EA's like, don't come. We got nothing, you know, like no one's saying that. But like, you know, Nintendo isn't like, they don't often say shit like that. So I'm wondering if they have like some secret thing up their sleeve and they're like, look, it's fucking Mario 3 too. Or like I don't know.
Metroid.
Yeah, Metroid, like something, right? Like something that'll really get the fans like blood pumping, but
no.
New Smash Brothers, like I don't know.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, there's going to be a new Smash Brothers coming out in the next couple of years for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a while off at this point though, right? Like I can see us getting a port of the last one on this system.
Oh yeah,
that'll probably happen.
That's going to be the Nintendo trend for the next year straight because no one's debbing on it.
They just realized that you can do that. Like you can remaster shit.
Yeah. Well, there's also, I remember we did a news report where people are having either a tough time or devs were like, anyways, there was a trouble with the dev side for building onto the Switch. And like, there's not a lot of work that's currently like ready to go on it yet, right? So like all the titles that are coming for it are pretty far off, and they're gonna have like, the releases are almost done for like all are like, hey, what's coming up is awesome and coming. Like Mario's the only thing really new to anticipate.
Yeah, that's the only new Nintendo one.
So like to fill the gap between you playing Zelda or Mario, which is a year, They're just like, remaster it all.
Yeah, just everything. Here you go. Here's all the stuff we used to do. Remember when we were good? I shouldn't say that. A lot of people love Zelda. A lot of people consider this the best Zelda of all time. So, like, Nintendo is, for all intents and purposes, right now, doing quite well.
I don't know what it is about them that didn't sell to us. We're sorry, guys. Don't hate us.
Yeah, again, just full caveat. I prefer 2D Zelda games over 3D ones, personally. I haven't liked a 3D one since Wicker.
No. You're done.
All right.
That's it.
News over. After the break, we're going to be going over the best and worst comic book arcs from our youth. So stay tuned.
Or current.
Oh, yeah, or like now.
Like Venom.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about Venom. Boy, oh boy, do I need to talk about Venom.
There you go.
Welcome back to the Pens&Pixels Popcast. Second segment. I always do the dramatic pause.
You do.
The hot beat. Just
It's all about the pacing.
It is all about the pacing. And that's why these comic book arcs do not work. Fantastic segue, Cal.
There you go. Well done.
Spicy.
All the time.
That's not actually the reason all of these don't work, I'm sure.
No, actually, sometimes they're just bad writing.
Sometimes bad writing, sometimes bad art, sometimes a mixture of both.
Yeah.
And Mike and I are here to tell you about our personal worst comic book arcs.
Worst ones ever. So this is for Marvel or DC, or even if you want to go outside of that and go into smaller comics. I mean, mine are mostly in Marvel and DC since they.
Mine are all Marvel. Yeah.
You don't have a single DC one you don't like?
Not that I can think of offhand.
Yeah.
I just read more Marvel when I was a kid too.
Oh, okay.
There's just a larger pool of it, so.
There's been some real stinkers.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah. So we're also, I think most of our choices, I don't know about you, are actually not the staples, but to get the staples out of the way, there's the infamous Spider-Man clone thing that everyone hates.
Yeah, and like, let's talk about that for a second. Because I enjoyed it. Like, even, my exposure to it as a kid was largely, I read some of the comics, but I also watched it through the animated series, the one that went on in the 90s. And I always liked Ben Reilly. I like him being the clone of Peter Parker and him having to take over Peter Parker and all this stuff. Like, I always liked all of that as a concept, even...
In the beginning, it was neat, but then it's because it devolved is why everyone generally dislikes it. And it was because, like, suddenly there's, like, 1,000 clones, and suddenly, like, Spider-Man's not special anymore. There's just a whole bunch of them, and some of them are really fucking dumb. It's like the Venom shit, right? Like, where Venom starts splitting off into 1,000 Venoms, and you're like, well, Venom's not special anymore. There's just 1,000 different colored rainbow Venoms.
I always found it weird that Spider-Man was the one they do that with, and they still do it. They had the whole Edge of Spider-Verse event, like, late last year.
Yep.
And it's just Spider-Man's from a bunch of different dimensions.
And they did Infinite Spider-Verse ones, too. Yeah.
And it's like, why don't they do... Or, like, why don't they try to do that and, like, be better with, like, Wolverine or... Anybody, right? Like, I'm just surprised that, like, Spider-Man, they're like, yeah, there's a whole Spider-Verse. Is there a Wolverine-verse? Probably, but
because
we're not going to
easiest
explore
to manipulate, in a way, because his story has never made a massive impact. In a way that, like, Wolverine's story branches into so many different characters and so many different places. Like, he was involved with Captain America, and he was like with
he's involved with X-Men
and the fucking Avengers, and like it's like his whole story, even his past when they were unraveling, it was like, oh, by the way, he was actually here and here and here and here and here. So like rewriting all of that to make it just as interesting is like, why the fuck would you bother, right?
That's true. Spider-Man's kind of like he can be in his own pocket.
He's always been in his own pocket, right? It's always just been Peter Parker's very simple origin story with his very simple goal. He's always been isolated. He never really joined. I mean, he joined the Avengers for a little bit, didn't he?
He's been part of the Avengers. He was part of the Fantastic Four for a little while.
Yeah. But very never like committed to any particular team.
No, he was never like, you weren't like, oh, Spider-Man's on that team.
Yeah, exactly. So like he was easy to manipulate. That's why they used him. It's easy to take some character that's very solo. Like, they couldn't have done it with other characters like Daredevil. Because, like, Daredevil's story is literally just pretty much exactly what you see in the show, just different.
It'd be great if Daredevil, like, ran into a version of himself from a different dimension who's like, I can see, and I also have powers, so
yeah.
I'm all the way better. Just entirely better.
Yeah, like, it didn't go in my eyes, it went in my mouth, so I have, like, slightly worse sense of taste, but...
I get diarrhea like pretty often, but like the trade-off is pretty good. Yeah. It's pretty good for everything else I can do.
My vision can telescope in over 1,000 miles. Like, I'm great.
Bullseye, no, he's not my foe in my world. No. I'm more accurate than him, actually.
Yeah. And actually, by ingesting it, it actually affected all of me instead of just my head. So...
That's how that played out. You got the shit end of the stick, buddy.
Yeah, usually just gesture like a wipe away without saying anything.
Okay, off with you. All right, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Mike, you go first.
Well, sorry, I wanted to hit on one thing beforehand. There are other great or big arcs that were pretty crappy inside of like. I mean, I'm gonna cut out very clearly all the ones that are just the general stupid resets. Like we all agree that there's been a crap ton of stupid resets at DC, like more than almost any other thing.
New 52, Rebirth.
You keep going, the list is on.
Marvel just had the all new, all different, and now they're kind of rebooting that, bringing back legacy characters. Like they rebooted everyone, and they're like, here's female Thor, here's X-23's Wolverine, and now they're like, okay, but we're bringing everyone back, you know. And it wasn't even like a length of time where it's like, whoa, finally. It's like it's like a year and a half, guys. You know, like
so like the reboot shit, we're just like we all have bitched about it long enough, and there is some stupidity there.
You know why they keep doing shit like that? They number ones sell considerably more than anything else. Like a number one of let's just say Wolverine, the X-23 Wolverine, will sell like 1 million copies. Issue 2 will sell like 200,000, and that's just like the repeating pattern. So they keep being like, okay, well, let's just keep doing like number ones, and they just do.
Yeah, and that actually came as launched as part of some of the Marvel arcs that they did, where they did the faux restarts. You know, like the original Secret War and Age of Apocalypse with all the issue ones they did with that and stuff, because those were huge sellers for these relaunch of a fresh universe, right? Ultimate X-Men even. But anyways,
I mean, Ultimate I was really excited about Ultimate when it came out because it was just like, but it was a whole like universe to jump off. It wasn't just like here's Spectacular Spider-Man number 1. I'm like, where does this fit in? Like, what is it? But like everything was like, here's everything Ultimate, and it's all number 1. And you're like, it's a whole new universe to like latch onto.
It was also drastically different in tone. They were like, we're going to take this in a whole different direction. Let's get this into the 21st century and deal with like sexuality and fucking viruses and life. And
I'm surprised they haven't tried that kind of reboot again. Just like a different take on the universe.
I totally love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Spectacular universe, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, so my first one that I dislike, I'm gonna go from the bottom of the list, the one that doesn't like reek horribly.
Sure.
And my first one is we'll go with that one. So in DC, there was this arc, so dumb. I think it was called Infinite Crisis, and what it was, as a quick story synopsis, was Green Lantern, the original Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, lost his ring. I forget the fuck how that happened. And his city had been destroyed, so he went all like, meh. And he apparently still had powers, which later on gets explained away that he had parallax, which later on gets explained as the entity that is the yellow source of the yellow energy, but for some reason it was green in this. Anyways, he still has those powers, and he goes around and tries to recruit everyone into like resetting the universe so they can get all their loved ones back. And like he just ends up destroying everything. It even ends with like Kyle Rayner and Hal Jordan fighting in like a white, just literally just a white scene,
nothing.
And that's the two of them clashing together. And he's like supposed to be remaking the universe with these like green energy orbs and shit. It was so fucking dumb. Plus, there was no investment because no matter what happens, they're resetting the universe.
Yeah.
Like any arc that runs on like, oh, for in this little moment, nothing matters. I'm like, well, why do I care, right? But it was just like we wanted to kill all the characters. We wanted to have fights that meant something, so there wasn't just like, oh, he got knocked out. We wanted to finally start killing characters, but we can't end entire runs of comics. So we're doing this just to kill characters.
Yeah.
Literally. And that's all it was just trying to be shocking every panel about which character next got killed, right?
There was Game of Thrones in it?
Yeah. And it was just like, okay, but they're not permanently dead, you know? There was no investment into it in the way that like Age of Apocalypse, while it was a reset and none of the deaths in it really actually mattered at the end of the day, and we knew that, right? It was in this new universe that invested into the story of what this new character was about. So like I was sad about the story of like, you know, Colossus being so tormented and driven insane as part of his whole thing. And I like when he died, I was like, oh, that's really sad, right? Like that he broke down that far, and you know, like I cared about those components, even though I knew they weren't permanent. But with this one, it was just literally like, we just stopped everything and they all died. Like, I was just like, really? That's it? And it was like epically long, like so many fucking pages of just Hal Jordan being the one to finish them. All of them.
Huh.
Like, really?
The name sounded familiar, but I'm thinking of like Crisis on Infinite Earths or something.
That's Crisis on Infinite Earths is actually good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like they use that nomenclature a lot. Like the words crisis and infinite.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like all the time.
Especially DC. They have a couple of Infinite Crisis things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was this one was just Infinite Crisis. And it was
that must be the first one. That's probably where it started.
Maybe. I have a trade book of it, and I got it as a gift because someone thought it would be cool to get me a gift for this, and I'm like, it would have been a good gift if it wasn't a shitty story.
Yeah.
Of just this, like, the Green Lantern just being like, I don't want my city destroyed. I'm going to go reset everything. And then, like, won.
And then they went off to do Flashpoint, which is basically the same story.
Yeah.
I want my money back.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like,
except Flashpoint is good.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm all for an infinite universe resetting destruction story. Like, those happen. But this one was just them being bored and giving us, like, we're taking a break from the storyline because we ran out of ideas, it felt like. I was like, fuck, alright.
We need some time to think. Here's some white panels of people clashing.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. Like, I mean, if you're going to give me some, like, original stuff and they're, like, wiping out the universe and they're literally just floating in the middle of nowhere.
Alright.
Yeah.
So mine is, it's probably bad. It's also very disappointing. There's something I read somewhat recently was Avengers versus X-Men.
Oh, it's mine.
Oh, is that? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about it together.
It was so disappointing.
Very disappointing. For, like, multiple reasons.
Yeah.
A, it felt like there were no stakes.
No.
B, it was drawn very poorly for the first, I want to say, I read it in a trade paperback, so, like, half, at least, was, like, done by an artist who's not great for...
Yeah, no, it was very bad.
And I always wondered, like, I'm like, this is a huge event for you. This is, like, your event this year was Avengers versus X-Men. Big deal. Why give it to this person who's, like, not great? You know? Why not give it to your best people?
Yeah.
It's so weird to me when they do that. Like, why not put your best people on the book?
I still don't even know why. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be, like, their most popular franchise. Like, Generation X, when that came out after the Phalanx thing. Because the Phalanx thing, yeah, they did that. They put some amazing artists. They had Joe Mad on it. They had one of my other favorite, like, high-detailed artists. I forget his name. It was Scott Campbell, actually. Who's amazing. And, like, all these other great artists and all the books, different styles for each of the pieces of the Phalanx thing. And then Gen X came out, and they had a great artist that joined in for that. And then 13 issues in, suddenly it went to this guy who just literally draws like he was a child finger painting. And I'm not even being funny. It was literally ineligible. I could not tell what was going on. Oh. None of the characters, they'd be talking, and I'd be like, who is talking? Because
just clutter.
Well, the clutter made it really dizzy, but the characters looked nothing like the other characters. So I couldn't... Like, Emma Frost wears all white and has blonde hair.
Yeah.
She was no longer wearing white, and her blonde hair was a weird, wrong shape and color and everything. I didn't know it was her. Oh. And she looked like a teenager. And I was like, why the fuck? What? So, like, I tossed the books. I didn't read after that.
Yeah, so Avengers vs. X-Men has terrible art for the first, I'm going to say half of it. Then they replace it with a better artist for the second half. Which is nice. But at that point, like, the whole story is just led up to a whole lot of nothing. Because, like, you don't even get Avengers versus X-Men. You do. There's a bunch of times where they, quote-unquote, face off, but they're not good. Like, I specifically
remember... They're not fighting each other. Like, that's not actually Avengers versus X-Men. Like, they have this grander thing of, like, the Phoenix coming and...
The Phoenix is coming to Scott Summers' daughter as a new vessel, right?
Yeah. Well,
or she's supposedly the new vessel.
Well, they want her to be the new vessel, and the Avengers don't want that. They want to destroy the Phoenix or something like that, because the Phoenix is going to come and destroy the Earth. And, like, why are they fighting over this at all?
You guys know the Phoenix is dangerous.
Yeah. And even if, like, it did go into Rachel, or whatever her name was, I think it was Rachel.
Rachel Summers, yeah, probably.
Well, one of their daughters was named Rachel. Because time things. Anyways. Like, we were like, okay, what's the big resistance? It doesn't seem like this is all really a huge problem. Why are you fighting each other? And this actually leads, and we can do this as a whole for 2 exact entries, is one of my problems. A lot of people like this, but I hated the result of it, and the reasoning was the House of M. Like, neat idea. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a bad comic book arc, actually, at the end of the day.
No, I like House of M.
Yeah, but it was literally a middle finger to fucking Fox and Universal. They're like, we can't have mutants, so we're just going to wipe them all out. And then that led to stupid stories of them being like, there's only 100 mutants left, and we live on this island, and now Cyclops is like this badass. And I'm like, just why did you wipe out the mutants? Like,
Cyclops has been like veering on villain territory for years now, I feel like.
No, he has, but like, it just felt so lame and so lacking, and they're just like,
it was underwhelming almost the entire way through. There was actually near the end a good part with it was like a Spider-Man focused issue, and I really enjoyed that. But there's one panel that I think sums up the entire thing, where I was like, just like expounds my disappointment, was like, it was like Captain America, and he's talking to someone on his comm, like
Mhm.
I don't know who, fucking Wolverine, whatever, and he's just punching Gambit in the face for one panel, and he's just like moving through the jungle or whatever the fuck he is, punching Gambit in the face, and I was like, oh, he's fighting Gambit. Next panel, he's just like at his destination, and I was like, I want to see Gambit versus Captain America. That could be really cool. But you just had it as a panel.
It's called Avengers versus X-Men.
And he's just, it's just this, like, his arm out, Gambit struck down, dead, I guess. Like, who fucking knows? And just, like, he goes on to do something else. Like, it's just...
entire run was filled with those. Every single time the Avengers fought the X-Men, it was always just a panel of them charging at each other.
Yep.
And then, like...
maybe one brawl panel.
Yeah. And then it was over.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, the best Avengers versus X-Men fight was in Ultimate X-Men, when the Avengers fought the X-Men in Ultimate X-Men.
Yeah, the Ultimates.
Yeah. And, like, they were actually fighting each other. Like, Storm and Thor went up against each other and had, like, a lightning battle. And, like, you know, then suddenly Bobby, who got knocked out beforehand, like, freezed the whole place. But in order to... And they were smart enough. Like, Tony's like, we got to get near him, but they've got two powerful psychics, so here's a psychic field that knocks them both out so we can fight everyone else. And, you know, like... they're trying to fight Colossus and Green Arrow, whatever, fucking Hawkeye, whatever the fuck Arrow. Like, actually shoots a localized nuke at him to, like, knock him out. You know, like... It was a fight, and it took over several, like, probably a couple of issues at the time, and it took a huge chunk of the book up. Like, that's a fight. Right?
Yeah, and that's something you want to see. Or even...
Like, how would fucking
they don't even,
Arrow
like,
Man drop Colossus?
They have this whole, like, part in Avengers vs. X-Men where, like, they're in the ship, or the airship, and they're, like, coming down, and it's in water outside the island that Scott Summers is on. Are they in Genosha? I don't remember. And
yeah, it wasn't Genosha. They made an island. Or was it Genosha that they made their island?
They might have made it their island.
It was Genosha.
Maybe it was. Anyways, they drop down. They're all, like, in, like thigh deep water or like knee deep water, and they're about to fight, and they're like it's a big standoff. There's no tension in that moment. Like, I always remember like World War Hulk when Hulk came back from the whole Planet Hulk arc, and he was like, I'm gonna fuck everyone up who sent me to space. There's this great cool panels where he's going back to the X-Men and he wants to go like punch Professor X in the head or whatever the fuck he wants to do, and just it's him like standing in front of like Professor X, and then all the X-Men gather around like, we're gonna defend him. And I always felt that had so much more power in it, like as a thing. And like he's like, okay, maybe I won't do this, but like, you know.
No, I'm totally down with you. Like the amount of times in X-Men where like Magneto comes down and he stands in front of the crowd, and the X-Men are all like in a circle around him. Like, you get a little bit disjointed with it, but they've always were very good at making him feel intimidating. I remember one of my favorites was like the whole Fatal Attractions kind of arc, and that's when they were having the funeral for Illyana. Colossus' sister, and he comes down during the with Avalon, like the station he built. Literally, there's like levitating a whole fucking station down over his head while he floats there, and like trashes the whole place. And guess what else? Well, I think Colossus joins him, and it was really intimidating. Like, he's just like, I'm gonna show up at a funeral with a fucking space station, like. You know, and I loved it with a few small scenes where they made it more interesting, where the station itself, what they drew it where like pieces were falling off of it. Because it's a space station, it wouldn't hold together in Earth's gravity, so he's using his power like in concentration
to like keep it together.
To keep it together, but they were like trying to like destroy the station a bit to make it harder for him to keep the pieces together. Instead of fighting him directly because of the strain of it all. And I'm like, this is genius.
That's really cool.
Like, well done, right? Instead, with Avenger vs. X-Men, it was a lot of those giant panels of them staying together. Sometimes, like, weird, and I hate those for the giant panel one, and Avenger vs. X-Men was like that, too. Like, I don't remember the source as to why Xavier could walk again by this point, but he had his powers back. And suddenly he's using, like, Psylocke psychic blades off of his hands to fight, and he's, like, jumping in the air and going, wah, and slashing with them. And I'm like, never once did I ever crave seeing the bald man in the fucking suit, like, going full, like, ninja martial arts Psyblade at anything.
No.
Like, this is not exciting for me. You didn't think about this and go, would it be really cool? It would have been really cool if you just had like Xavier pop up from behind like a rock that's above everybody and just like have this like giant mental beam like flatten everyone who isn't immune to it.
Or he's going around like fucking, he's like wiping his feet on a carpet and just mentally zapping everybody. Zip. Just hits him with a little like with his fingers. Zip.
Yeah.
You're unconscious in a coma for 3 months now. Zip. Okay, so since that was your number 2, right?
That was my number 2.
Okay, I'll do my number 2 then. Since we collaborated on this one. This one's a little bit of a cheat, because I heard how bad it was, and then I wanted to read it for myself.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the comic where Spider-Man gives birth to himself? No?
No, I don't even know that's a thing.
So, I don't know a lot of context, so I'm going to read this thing. Because I didn't read the entire thing. I read, like, the 2 books of like, when it happened. In a storyline titled Changes, Spider-Man has to fight the Queen, a ridiculously powerful villainess that no one has ever heard of before. Lovely. Her powers are insect-related, so she picks Spider-Man to make spider babies with. The Queen kicks his ass in their first fight and proceeds to rape him in the mouth.
What?
Impregnates him in the mouth.
Seriously?
Yep. The Queen eventually lets Spider-Man escape, having accomplished her goal. Later that night, Peter finds out that the kiss has a side effect. It's turning him into a real spider. And we've seen this before. We've seen Spider-Man turn into a real spider. And This isn't so bad.
No, this is all actually... I'm like, okay, I'm in.
The Queen then tracks Spider-Man down and takes him to her lair, where he can finish his transformation into Frodo's worst nightmare. I guess Frodo's scared of spiders. She also reveals that he's pregnant. So even though Spider-Man is male, and the Queen never boned him, he's somehow genetically altered to become pregnant. Well, okay. So what does this mean? Nothing. Because he's a fucking spider who can't understand what the hell people are saying. Instead, so he starts having a seizure and his body topples over dead, leaving the Queen genuinely heartbroken. Spider-Man emerges from the dead shell of his own body. Like, he just all of a sudden, like, he comes out of this, like, the spider being that he'd become, and he's like,
and he birthed himself.
Like, yeah, and then he births himself back. And this all happens within, it's probably like 4 issues. Like, just this weird fucking...
What would be oh my god. That's awful.
Isn't that weird?
That's so weird.
It's such it seems so, like, 90s, but it happened in, like, 2005. Like, isn't that... fucking weird.
I don't even understand. Like, I'm just trying to like tie it together. Like, what would be the sense of them wanting to have him birth from himself? Because like, what's the? But I'm like,
there's nothing. There's no like repercussions to it. There's no. It's just this weird like moment in Spider-Man history where he's like, he birthed himself.
Oh my god! I didn't even know it existed. Jesus.
You shouldn't though. Yeah, it's the thing. It's kind of like this weirdly infamous thing because it's like it was short and like kind of meaningless and like someone approved it probably by accident.
Yeah.
Oh, the Queen. Okay.
Oh my god! Sorry, I'm trying to like. I would probably be slapstick and funny off of that, but I'm just more baffled. Like...
So I think this eventually led into Spider Island at some point, which was an arc from a couple years ago, which was better than I had expected. And it had something. I don't think it was the Queen. I could be wrong. It was a Queen-like being though. Yeah. So 1 second. Let me give this a little Google.
I always find it funny with like the full human transformation thing. And I mean, it's such a guy thing, but I'm always just like, what happens in that moment when you're transforming and you know your dick falls off? Or it gets replaced with something else that is like, what is it, actually a spider dick? And you're like, ah.
Okay, so the main character is Spider Queen. It is her. So they brought her back eventually. And that was the whole storyline where Anti-Venom came from.
Actually, wait, don't spiders' dicks fall off? Yeah, they do.
Do spiders have dicks?
Yeah, when they fall off afterwards. So.
Do they? Yeah?
Yeah. They get them back, they grow back, but like the dick falls off after use.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, better than cleaning up a condom, I guess.
I guess so. That one's used.
You just don't have to worry about it anymore. You're like, alright, fuck
that
it.
one's used, now for the new one.
Just fuck it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had the conversation with people about Spider-Man? I never. Some people like really hated the organic
I love that
web thing.
I thought like he would be genetically programmed to know how to make spider webs. I was like, what? Yeah,
I mean, it never bothered me they're mechanical either. But I always thought I was like, oh, it's a cool thing. We don't have to come up with like he's really a super genius because he made this like thing. It's like it's fine. Like, I know he's smart, but like making this thing that seems pretty unreasonable.
And I thought it was a good like cap to be like he can't just be like, and like 2 hours later.
So when I say I like that, I get a lot of like pushback from people saying like, well, and I'm like, well, it's like more organic, right? Because they're like, it's part of him now. Like it's the web shooters, like, what? And they're like, well, if it was really like that, he'd really the spider web would come out of his ass. Then is that what you want? Like that kind of stuff. Like, ever gotten that fucking argument?
Yeah, of course.
I get that all the time. I'm like, okay, A, played out joke. B, like, no, what does it matter? It's a comic book. It doesn't have to come out of his ass. Then like it's. It's so frustrating.
No, I don't see why you have to argue with it. Like, first of all, like if he was more like a spider, he'd have more limbs, and then if he was more like a spider, he'd also have fucking mandibles.
Yeah, we can break this apart anyway. It's comic books. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. His powers actually.
I just like that his power is like part of him rather than something he made.
Yeah. Like, and his powers actually have nothing to do with spiders. Like if you actually look at his powers, they don't relate to spiders at all.
Climb. The thing he can do is climb.
That whole thing that's not actually accurate at all. It's more like a lizard.
Oh. Sure. I mean, I just mean like spiders can crawl on a wall.
Yeah.
He does crawl on a wall.
No, that's what I mean. Like they're
scientifically maybe not the same like way.
Yeah,
I guess.
and like even spider strength, like it's actually spider strength are the strongest insects in there. Like
oh fuck no, yeah, that's always been dumb. Yeah,
like there's no reason why a spider would be stronger. Really, at the end of the day, it would be more like more of a power that would be applicable as venom of some kind at least.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Miles Morales has a spider sting.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They did it.
Like they kept going into that more and more with other characters, even Spider-Man 2099, right? Like
yeah, he has some shit.
He had some sort of like psychic spider venom shock thing too.
Yeah. Toxic shock. I don't know. All right. What's your next one?
Well, my next one was Avengers vs. X-Men, but I'm gonna just kind of like rehash back to like why I kind of rejected House of M despite being a highly popular story.
Sure.
This will kind of make my list up to 4 because I do have one after this, but I just knowing the whole like syndrome behind them, Marvel's systematic wipeout of the X-Men and their popularity was so blatant. Right, because they were obviously trying to be like, "Hey guys, your franchise is worthless. Fuck you."
Mm-hmm.
That they, and I swear to God, I'm sure this is the case. They made a whole arc, well written, literally designed to decimate the option of using mutants ever again, or the X-Men, or anything like that. Right?
Well, not so hasty, Mike. Just this week they announced Resurrection.
Yes.
Right after the series called Death of X.
Because. Anyways, yes, I know. I get it. Again, it feels like a lot of like political game shit. So it really depreciated the story for me. But even as a whole, like if we took that away, the idea of in any comic book series of just massively depowering people because it's just gotten so out of hand always feels really lame to me. I don't care what comic book series. They even did it in fucking Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They're like, we took out all magic in the world, and it's like no one had magical powers of any kind in a show that's based or a story that's based on magical powers. And like it just sucks out the fun of your world. It's this imaginary world of all these great beings, and only the ones who like accidentally found their powers for some reason exist, right? There's only like 200 mutants left. Like you've just sucked out the superhuman world. All of the fantasy in your world just got sucked out because you felt it was all getting too far out of hand, right? And yeah, it does become a blanket curtain most of the time where they're like, we have a bad guy, but we don't want to come up with a backstory for them. They're just a super powerful mutant. Like I get that argument as well, but I just, the moment it happened, I was like, great, there goes like my fantasy realm. And also the story behind the X-Men and the whole story of mutants was the fact that they were this component of the planet. Like, I mean, at the time, I think their numbers were higher than 10%, but like, it was that relationship between sexual identity and like that is a genetic portion of the population that are just going to be different in some fashion, right? And that comparison was just wiped out. It was like almost like they were like dropped the gay bomb and wiped out the X-Men, and that was my connection to them when I was young.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's just like great, you wiped out the gays in a shot, and in my head I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Genocide.
Give me back my my minority that I feel connected to, right? And the stories that I felt connected to. And I always felt the stories coming out of Marvel were always better when they tackled the rejected and smaller beings, right? Like, I always talk about that one little comic book arc about the mutant who just looked different and had no powers. And while he was looking for the X-Men, he got beaten to death. And it was really moving, right? Like, that's a better story to me. And you just were like, nope, don't like them anymore, can't sell them, bye.
Business politics get in the way, right?
Yeah. So that's like why I don't like that, and that led into the Avengers versus X-Men thing where we just covered that. Where I was like, great, so now you got the 100 of them left. They're gonna fight. Maybe a few die, and there's fewer left, even still, and they're like fighting to preserve themselves and bullshit, whatever. Like, fuck it. I was just like, I couldn't invest because they had wiped out the main reason I liked the stories. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, especially when you say it's because you identify with them for that reason, and they're like wiping them out. Yeah, I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So that's your 3 then?
No, I've got one more after this, but you got your last one.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna throw Venom under the bus now. I'm a big Venom fan.
Yeah.
I was gonna actually pull out an arc called Knights of Vengeance from like back in the 90s, which was just kind of lame. He fights with Ghost Rider's like shitty little brother. So like he's like a skull with like a mohawk.
Oh,
but it's a bone mohawk. Yeah, they tried to make like a more hardcore Ghost Rider. He's not very popular. His name's Vengeance.
Oh, I know Vengeance. Yeah.
He's like a purple skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had a stupid like arc where they like fought the stalkers or something. Anyways, wasn't very good. It was just kind of lame. Not great art. Whatever. But I'm gonna throw the newest arc under the bus. Venom's Return. Mostly because I want to bitch about it a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
Venom.
He's choking on his own bile.
Okay, so Venom came out his like in the last couple of years. He's coming off like one of the best arcs he's ever had. He got transferred to Flash Thompson a couple years ago. If you didn't know, Flash Thompson being Peter Parker's high school bully, and he was on. You know, Flash had lost his legs in the war. He was this. You know, he's like, "Fuck, I'm a worthless piece of shit now." Whatever. And then he got given the Venom suit, a highly drugged Venom suit. So he could use it so he'd have legs, and he was back in the field, and he was, you know, doing good things with the suit. Yeah. And the whole, like, you know, the whole run, it's about 16 to 20 issues, and it was really good, and it's all about, like, Flash, like, battling if, like, he can control the suit, if he can't, about the suit being drugged, and if he's okay with that or not, like, as it's, like, tempering him down constantly. Like, you're not getting, like, the huge big jaw Venom, you're getting a lot of, like, maybe he'll come out a little bit when he's like he fights Kraven, which is sick. I love Kraven. I mean the whole arc ends with Toxin coming back, one of Venom's fucking grandchildren, being trapped in a jar by fucking Blackheart. That's him, the dude with the Blackheart, right? Not Darkheart.
Oh, you mean Lucifer? Not Lucifer's son, but
the Devil's kid
Mephisto's
or whatever.
Son,
Mephisto. Yeah. Yes, and he's gonna use Toxin as a weapon, and then Venom doesn't want that to happen, so Venom just fucking hulks out, and then literally Hulk comes, and then Venom goes on the Hulk, and then Ghost Rider possesses the Hulk. So it's like triple madness, and they're just fucking riding into hell on a motorcycle. Super good. And it was really on a hot streak for a while. I was super enjoying it. It was the best thing that was done for a long time, because Venom was kind of like abused for a while, because he was on Eddie Brock forever, and then after that he got onto fucking Scorpion. It was nothing. The whole everything with him on Scorpion was like kind of worthless. It was fine, but like he never got his own like arc. He was just kind of a mindless monster. They kind of gave him a personality in the Flash arcs and stuff, and he was like starting to become a hero, and he like liked that. He joined the Guardians of the Galaxy and found out, but his race found out that like because he was on these shitty humans and stuff, he got like corrupted, and like his race is actually like not so bad, you know. They also call it symbiotes Clintars now. I don't like that, but like
no, that's a dumb name.
That's also a really dumb name. It feels like something that you came out like, what should we call this alien race? And like Clintar? Yeah, okay. Like the first thing you come up with, you know?
It sounded like they went to like what is that? Simon or whatever on Apple, like the thing that does text to talk, and they were just like said something into it, and it just came through on the other side.
Can you look up the clitoris?
Yeah.
Searching Clintar. Ah, fuck.
Like,
that's perfect.
That's perfect. That's a good name.
So then he wanted to Flash in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then that arc kind of fizzled out. They kind of like lost their way. Now Venom's back. He's in New York, and you're like, shit. Okay, Venom's back on Earth, and he's not with Flash Thompson anymore. They didn't explain anything. It just happens. He's super weak. He needs to attach to somebody. He goes on this bad guy. His name's Lee Price or some shit. Lee Price is like the least interesting character that written in the last 15 years in any medium. He's like this like tortured like supposed to be badass guy. Yeah. He's just kind of shitty. And Venom the entire time is like, I'm too weak to leave him, and the guy keeps saying these like vague things like, well, you can't leave me, I'm stronger than you, and you're like, okay, I guess something must be up with Venom then. Like, if he's this weak and he needs this host to live, like, and he's staying on him, and the guy's using him for shitty things, you know, crime and shit. And, and the entire time Venom is being like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Which is, I think it's interesting in concept to give, after all this time, the symbiote's like, I don't want to do this. I want to be the good guy. I'm used to being the good guy now.
No, I like the idea of the juxtaposition. Like when you mentioned it, I thought it was a neat idea. Plus, you know, like it resisting the human rather than the human resisting it. I like the neat, interesting juxtaposition. But like even right away,
it's done poorly. That's the thing. Yeah. It's a neat concept. I totally agree.
But it's like even right away, like the idea of all creatures, the symbiote not being like I have to stay on to live. A little bit of physical contact with any other human being. Like you can't just slink over slightly. Like he's punching people.
That's the thing. He's around so many other people in this whole thing.
Even grabbing them and stuff, and he can't just like slide off. Like even let's just let gravity do the work.
That's the thing. They never. I mean, maybe it's still the arc's still going. Maybe they'll explain it. All this will be like new. Like doesn't matter. But he, you know, finally, spoilers. Spider-Man intervenes and he's like, "That's not Flash in there. Like I need to get it off this fucking whoever has it on." And Spider-Man is like, "Hey, symbiote, I know you like me. Come on back to me." And Venom's like, "Spider-Man's a hero. I
I want to be a hero again. And he just leaves the dude dying in a fire, which is kind of funny. But he just leaves him. Like, all of a sudden, he's like, okay. Like,
any other human being could have been
and it could have been anyone. I don't know why he wasn't, like, just bar hopping from person to person.
Which would have made a cooler story.
Yeah, and he could have just been, like, living a life and, like, being like, how's it going to affect this pizza guy's life? Or whatever, and then he goes to someone else and he's, like, just trying to find his way into a good person again.
Yeah.
Or something, or find his way back to...
a person that would work.
The Avengers or something, right? Wherein, you know, Secret Avengers are the ones who capture him at first, so maybe them. And then Eddie Brock comes back in the scene. Eddie Brock, who's been a fucking symbiote hunter who hates them for the last, like, 9 years. He had cancer, then he was Anti-Venom, and then Anti-Venom died defeating the Spider-Queen from the Spider-Queen arc, the Spider Island arc. And then he was like, I'm gonna kill everything. So he went out and he killed everything. He killed all the loose ends of symbiotes that they made in the last 20 years. And then he put the toxin symbiote back on. It was forced on him at first, and then he said, like, I'll wear it because I want to kill Carnage. And he needs a symbiote to kill Carnage, understandably. And then now he's, like, back, and he's like, oh, there's my symbiote, my darling. Reunited at last. Like, all this shit, all this really weird, like... And the writer keeps describing it as, like, Venom and Eddie Brock have, like, the worst romance in the world. Like, all this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's not how it ever was. Like, they liked being together, and they were anti-heroes before. Like, it wasn't this... So now he has him back, and now he's just gonna go be Venom, I guess. Yeah. There's no loose ends to tie up. I don't know where it's gonna go. This whole thing just seems like an excuse for them to be like, remember when Eddie Brock had Venom?
Yeah.
That's all it seems like.
Well, it definitely 100% is that, because, like, there's this trend in Marvel right now to go back to all the classic heroes because everyone's, like, not liking the new revamps, right? And like I've been saying, revamps aren't the key. The key is to invent better and newer, cooler heroes, which you can do. We've made up cooler shit on the fly in this podcast. But the thing with that one, and it happens with a lot of the new Marvel and DC stuff, is the weird plot hole, no explanation stuff that I think just flies with comic book fans. Like, you know, why would Eddie Brock, who spent so long rejecting symbiote, suddenly just spontaneously change his tune, right?
Yeah, unless that was, like, not in the same universe or
why would
something.
This thing that has latched onto, like, a dozen beings at any one given time, like, even though weak, not latch itself onto anything else, right? Like, it could easily make itself into a puddle on the floor and let someone walk on top of it and then just, like, grab its boots. Like, it could do anything at that point. It's not that weak. The guy can wear the suit and apparently jump around and shit, so your powers are still kind of intact.
Yeah, he was still, like, when he was Venom again, when the guy was using him, he was strong as fuck, and he's beating the fuck out of Scorpion and all this shit. Like,
yeah, like, so apparently his powers aren't intact, so you could probably move.
And it's more disappointing, because, like, before this, the writer was talking about how, like, we're going deep into the Venom lore, and we're gonna bring back stuff you didn't think we were gonna bring back. So, as a Venom fan, long-time Venom fan, I'm thinking in my head, like, oh, they're gonna bring back, like, Eddie Brock's wife, and we're gonna get the you know, the last bits of that, and all this shit, and, like, just nothing so far. Like, Scorpion was there, and he had the Venom symbiote at one point. Didn't do anything interesting with it, so.
Yeah, it's that lack of, like, motivation to push things a little bit further. And it's a risk and the problem in comic books these days as well, right? Like, there's a lot of that happening now. It's a lot of just like, oh, like, you guys want the old back, but maybe we want to do some new stuff. And it's like, really, you should be tackling some more interesting subject matter. As an example, as a competing market, like, look at anime. Like, they've done everything, but they always come up with new and interesting ways of doing it. Like, the shonen formula is old school and done to death, but we've just gotten, like, My Hero Academia, which is exactly the same as most of the old formula, but with cool and interesting twists. And they make up new characters, like, every 4 months.
Yeah. And that show's got heart.
Yeah, and, like, they're talking about making up characters. Like, most of the time with manga artists, they make up so many new characters, you lose track of the main one.
It's true.
Like,
and a lot of times you'll see one, and you're like, that's so cool. And then, like, it's a background character for, like, 20 issues.
Yeah, and, like, they're always, like, they're constantly popping up, and suddenly, like, all these side characters that were showing up just to, like, jump in with a background joke and be like, oh, I'm wacky, are suddenly now, like, main characters with full side arcs, right? And you're not even seeing the main character for, like, 17 to 20 issues. Like, if they can, the Japanese don't have a power that you don't have. We have this years of imagination. Just make up something cool.
Yeah.
You know, the fans are looking for it. So don't just rely on these old tropes and think that we're just going to buy it. We're like, oh, great, Eddie Brock's back. We're happy now. Like, that's not it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Honestly, putting on a Flash was, like, the best thing they've done in years. So, I don't know where this is going. The art in the next issue looks really cool. They're changing artists, so that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. My last one is going to be real quick. Is chunked into one of my worst things I've ever read for its construction. I could not understand it. So as a little quick jump into it, I hadn't bought a new comic book in a long time. I had just been reading whatever I could get my hands on. Thought I'm going to start buying again. I was in Kingston, and by chance at this market sale in the middle of the square, there was an entire rack of the entire new Secret War.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, perfect. They're all there. They're $2 each. I can get the whole thing right now for like $30-something, and I'm good. I don't have to wait for the trade or anything like that. And I'm like, oh, it's a new Secret War, so it probably means they're going to wipe things out and start anew, and I want to find out what happened, etc. Holy, oh my God, so bad. Such bad, weird drops of dialogue and like scenes and moments where they're trying to make it big, like the one where like Doom's intelligent and I know they have technology, but like the whole hierarchy of supreme beings in the Marvel Universe goes like, it's a huge ladder, right? But the thing above the Celestials, there's the one above all, and then there's the Celestials, I think, is like right underneath that in the hierarchy. There's a race above them now, all of a sudden, that came to just wipe out the universe. That apparently this entire universe in the Celestials was created by them, which I'm like, stop adding things on this ladder.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like, we were done with the ladder. We were good. But then, like, while they were wiping it out, Doom just, like, rides a fucking plate with a few other people, including, I think, Doctor Strange and a few others, to just, like, find the source of creation and becomes God. And, like, he wipes out or tries to save what components of his own universe he can. That's where, like, the Ultimate Universe is kind of jumping in, and everyone just starts fucking dying again. But it's all in instant just happenstance. Like, this is supposed to be this big climactic moment in the Age of Apocalypse thing. When it came down to wiping out to just initiate the Age of Apocalypse, they had like a fucking 6 comic book story arc of like Legion waking up finally, going back in time, killing his own father. That caused a time loop that made the MCON crystal come to wipe it out, and they were all fighting to try and stop that, and it didn't work. And then they all like stood still and watched the wave come, and that's when Rogue kissed Gambit for the first time finally, and you know, like, it was this like big moment, and when it washed over, they were all just like frozen in crystal, and time was wiped out. Anyway, you're like, oh, you know, but with this as a reset, it was just kind of just, they were like, big being comes in, Doom did thing, now we're in other spot, fight, and you're like, what? And then they just did.
I mean, Doom becoming God sounds cool to me, but like that, I've heard nothing but poor things about the Secret Wars event.
It was
like,
awful. And random weird changes, like Doctor Strange wasn't depowered for any reason, but then in Doom's new universe he had no powers or something. And I think maybe he did, but he just didn't use them. He's always been one of the most powerful beings in the entire Marvel universe by like a massive factor. You think he would do something more than that. He's also been involved in orchestrating and protecting the universe more often than not with the Illuminati and everything else. Yet he just goes, Doom would be good as God. Like, why would you make that selection?
His name is Doom!
All he's ever done is fuck shit up and break everyone's trust every time. Why would you make him God? You were standing next to him. You could have just been like, no, and pushed him off the little flowery thing, let him float into oblivion and become God yourself.
No.
Like anything else. And then like the universe that Doom recreates, I think they might have backed it up by saying like he couldn't recreate everything correctly. So like the world was all broken apart and like floating things in the abyss or some bullshit. But like he just did a shitty job bringing back even his own desires. Like he's like, I made Susan perfect, but the rest of everything else, fuck that. Like,
there's no Alfredo sauce in this universe.
Yeah.
What? What?
It was just so haphazardly and so quick. Everything was like, next page, giant thing happens, doesn't matter. Next page, giant thing happens, doesn't matter. And it was just like them rushing this story to get to resetting it. They're like, Marvel was sitting back going, we need 6 issues to reset this thing. Go, 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 go. And then just they got to resetting everything. Like, that was it.
I mean, yeah, maybe if you're given that kind of timeline, you're like, yeah, there's actually something more powerful than this thing, and yeah.
And they were just
It'll
like, they were so very clearly picking and choosing. Like, they didn't want to have, they ended up sticking a bunch of heroes and stuff onto certain ships to try and get them to the unit, like, to be safe and survive through the whole reset. And they brought some of the Ultimate characters in, but they just wiped them all out so quickly, very clearly being like, well, we like that one guy from Ultimate, so we'll bring him back. You know, like, we like the Ultimate Mr. Fantastic, so he has to be around. You know, and I'm like, okay.
And that's why Miles Morales is around in the new universe, right?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Like, you don't get to just pick and choose your successful comics and tie them into your main universe. Like, it's just very dumb. And now they're just haphazardly stuck in, and everyone's just like, well, that happened.
Yep.
You know?
And now we're like, now there's 4 Spider-Men, because there's Spider-Gwen and Spider...
Is Gwen in the main universe now?
I think so. Or at least I saw a couple covers with her with Spider-Man, so I'm assuming.
Oh.
I don't actually remember Spider-Gwen now, so...
No, I thought she was her own universe.
She was.
Oh.
I don't know anymore.
Fuck.
I can't tell.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's just like, again, just lots of chopping, it feels like, with these things. A lot of, like, this axe came down and chopped out these little components that they knew sold, and it's all just based on doing that. It doesn't create these really interesting, cohesive wholes that make you excited or interested for them. Because we're actually, all of the arcs, almost, that we've talked about that we like, are the reset arcs that were awesome. So, do those. You've done them right before. Go back to doing that.
Make Ultimate 2 universe.
Yes.
Mega? What's another word they could use? Would be a good sounding universe. Ultimate was so good.
Ultimate was really good.
It's like Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, it all just worked.
Even the Avengers were just the Ultimates, right? So.
Yeah, the Avengers were the Ultimates now, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Now you said Mega, all I can think of is that.
I was honestly just basing that off, like, Digimons.
Yeah.
Because it's like Rookie, Champion, Ultimate,
Ultra?
Mega.
Yeah.
It's Ultimate and then Mega.
No, but Ultra is that.
No, Ultra sounds too, like...
Ultimate.
Yeah.
But then again, they reuse Crisis all the time, so
that's
why can't
true.
they just fucking go like, it's the Ultra universe?
It's just the Infinite Crisis on Marvel. That's all it is now. All right. I hope you enjoyed our bitching and moaning about the worst things we've ever read.
Yep. If you guys have anything out there that you guys hated in particular that were not just the general public consensus on resets, and you have weird arcs that were really dumb, like the Infinity Crusade, Marvel, or others.
Or the Knights of Vengeance.
Yes.
Tell us about those.
Yeah, tell us about those that you have. Leave them in the comments below.
If you want to find us on social media, we are across all of them. I fucked this all up. We're on Tumblr. No, we're not. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. I'm on Twitter at @TheCalG. Mike is at MikeKentDraws. And we're across all social medias. Pick your poisons.
Yep, and you can check us out on SoundCloud, YouTube, and Facebook. You can follow Pens&Pixels there. Be sure to give us a like, a share, and a subscribe on any of the content that you follow us on. It is highly appreciated and is really helpful for us. If you have anything you'd like to comment or anything you'd like to say, you can email us at meetpensandpixels@gmail.com. And you can send us a question, send us a comment, you want a segment you want, anything. We're open to it. We like hearing from you guys.
#BringBackBach.
Bach.
Bach. Bach. That's fire.
Oh, yes, bring back Bach.